The story begins with the Dragon King explaining an ancient legend. Every ocean in the world has its own ruler, but there was once a single being who ruled all the waters on Earth, the legendary Aquaman. With a single swing of his trident, he could shake the entire planet. He established one unbreakable rule: Atlantis would never interfere with human affairs. However, after Aquaman disappeared, no new Aquaman ever appeared. Did he leave behind a family? Does his bloodline still exist? The underwater world has no answers. But in a remote corner of Earth lives our protagonist, Arthur. The same blood that once flowed through Aquaman's veins flows through Arthur's as well. The problem is that Arthur has no idea who he really is. A completely different world is waiting for him, one that will eventually bow before him. Now begins Arthur's journey to obtain the trident and become the supreme ruler of all oceans. So let's begin. At the start of the story, we see Arthur complaining about his bad luck. My luck is terrible today. It's raining, and I lost at rock, paper, scissors. That's why I have to go out and buy food for everyone. Suddenly, he notices someone falling from above. Don't worry, I'll catch you. A beautiful girl crashes directly into him. The impact accidentally causes them to kiss. Embarrassed, Arthur quickly steps back. Sorry, that was an accident. Are you okay? Instead of thanking him, the girl grabs his collar. Give it back. Arthur was confused. Don't be ridiculous. I just saved your life. I didn't take anything. The girl glares at him. I didn't kiss you, and I never asked you to save me. So hurry up and return my item. The surrounding crowd begins whispering. What's going on? They look like a couple fighting. As the girl checks her hands, a sharp pain suddenly strikes her stomach. She warns, give it back now, or you're gonna die. At the same moment, Arthur feels a painful cramp in his own stomach. Pushing her away, he groans, back off. My stomach hurts too. Then he notices something strange. His finger has turned green. What happened? Why is my skin changing color? I need to do something before people notice. Arthur points at the girl. This is all your fault. I got hurt trying to catch you. Just then, a luxurious black Porsche Black Poison 123 pulls up nearby. The crowd instantly becomes excited. That car is incredible. Even if it ran us over, we'd die happy. A man steps out of the vehicle and respectfully says, Princess Mira, the master is requesting your presence. Then he turns toward Arthur. Mr. Arthur, you'll need to come with us as well. Mira immediately points at Arthur. Perfect timing. This guy stole my item. Make sure you deal with him properly. Arthur starts panicking. This girl is obviously rich. They aren't planning to kill me, are they? The scene then shifts to Micro Hard Group headquarters. Every employee bows respectfully. Welcome, Princess Mira. Arthur's eyes widen. Wait, is your father Andrew Tate? When he was younger, he was a living legend. He founded the Sigma Boys Foundation. One word from him could shake both the underworld and the government. Then he created a company called Micro Hard. He used hard instead of soft because he didn't like soft things. Are you really the daughter of the legendary Andrew Tate? Mira smirks proudly. So you finally understand who I am. I'm Mira Tate. Are you scared now? Arthur swallows nervously. Andrew Tate is one of the richest men in existence. Among Sigmas, he's considered the ultimate Sigma. After fighting with his daughter, Arthur was convinced he's doomed. When he enters the elevator, he notices the building has 108 floors. For the first time in his life, Arthur truly feels poor. After reaching the top floor, everyone stares at him as if he's already dead. That guy isn't surviving today. Then Andrew Tate himself appears. So your name is Arthur? Arthur nervously nods. Yes. Andrew looks directly into his eyes. You ate my daughter's core. Arthur immediately panics. That thing was a core? I swallowed it by accident. I had no idea what it was. Andrew sighs. Then there's only one solution. You'll have to marry my daughter. Mira's jaw drops. Dad, are you serious? Andrew ignores her. There's no reason to get angry. Then he asks Arthur, when you swallowed the core, did your hands start turning green? Arthur was shocked. How did you know that? Andrew finally reveals the truth. Because you swallowed the water dragon core. The dragon core contains the power of dragons. It allows us to fly, manipulate weather, and rule the oceans. Arthur's mind explodes. Wait, Andrew Tate is actually a dragon. Andrew continues, a human body can't handle a dragon core. Your body will explode within seconds. Arthur nearly faints. Am I gonna die? Andrew nods. There is one way to save you. Then he asks, what do you think of Mira? Arthur answers honestly. She's arrogant, spoiled, and honestly, pretty rude. Mira instantly explodes. What nonsense are you saying? I'll break your face. Ignoring her again, Andrew explains, as a dragon, Mira lost her core. Without it, she can't return to her true form. She also can't cultivate. If nothing changes, she'll die within 5 years. Arthur's expression softens. She may be annoying, but I don't want her to die. Can't I just return the core somehow? The Dragon King shakes his head. No. If we try that, both of you will die. Arthur clenches his fists. Then Mira can't die. This wasn't her fault. Hearing that, Mira secretly feels touched. We've only known each other for a short time, but he genuinely doesn't want me to die. Andrew smiles. My daughter can survive. But you'll have to marry her. Arthur nearly screams. How is that possible? She's still in middle school and I'm only 19. Andrew laughs. Who said you need to get married immediately? Just get engaged first, then spend time cultivating with our methods. When you become powerful enough, you'll eventually be able to return her dragon core. Andrew looks at Arthur seriously. So, what's your decision? Arthur sighs. I never expected something like this to happen. But since it did, I'll take responsibility. Mira immediately crosses her arms. Stop talking nonsense. You're lucky someone like me is willing to marry you. Andrew claps happily. Good. Then I'll have someone take you back to school. After all, a true Sigma never skips school. He turns to his butler. Take the future son-in-law to school. The butler bows. Of course. Just then, another young man walks over. So this is Mira's future husband? A mere human? What qualifications do you have to marry the Princess of Atlantis? Mira immediately steps forward. That's enough. Another person arrives and says, Leroy, calm down. Arthur suddenly recognizes him. Vice Principal Shorty. The Vice Principal smiles. The Dragon King ordered me to personally escort you to school. Soon they arrive at the academy. Vice Principal Shorty hands Arthur a cultivation manual. This is our cultivation art. If you practice it, you'll become stronger much faster. Leroy snorts. A human can never cultivate. Shorty immediately scolds him. You will show Mr. Ma Arthur respect. He is the future son-in-law of our king. The surrounding students are completely confused. Why is the vice principal treating this guy with so much respect? Before leaving, Shorty gives Arthur one final warning. Practice seriously. I'll personally examine your progress every day. As Arthur looks down at the cultivation manual, he realizes something. This is actually Dragon Tribe cultivation. Just then, someone places a hand on his shoulder. Arthur turns around in surprise. Linley? Lucien? What are you guys doing here? Lucien grins. It's been a whole day since we last saw you. We heard that yesterday you accidentally met a cute girl. Don't tell me you've already become the vice principal's son-in-law. Arthur immediately waves his hands. No, nothing like that happened. Stop talking nonsense. Lucien laughs. What's the point of denying it to us? The entire campus is already talking about it. At that moment, a cute girl approaches from the side. Linley smirks and says, Arthur, you already had such a cute girlfriend, yet you still betrayed her. You've been doing all kinds of things behind her back. Arthur quickly covers Linley's mouth. Will you shut up? She's not my girlfriend. Linley chuckles. We've already told her everything about you. There's no point pretending now. Arthur sighs helplessly. It's because of you guys that things became awkward between Gia and me. Just then, Gia notices Arthur and shyly walks away. Lucien nudges him. Believe it or not, I think Gia actually likes you. At that moment, Arthur receives a message from Gia. The text reads, What happened earlier? Everyone on campus is talking about you. Arthur quickly replies, Nothing happened. It's all just a misunderstanding. Gia responds, You looked exhausted earlier. How about we go for a walk after class? Arthur smiles. Finally, I'll get a chance to explain everything to her. Soon, everyone gathers in class. The students are buzzing with excitement. Hurry up and get ready. Miss Sue will be here any minute. We need to make a good impression. As soon as the bell rings, the classroom door opens and Teacher Sue walks in. The boys instantly become excited. Miss Sue, just look at me once. I'd die for you. Please just say my name once. Teacher Sue slams her book onto the desk. As of yesterday, I've received over 100 love letters from this class. I've recorded every single name. If it happens again, none of you will be allowed to sit for your exams. Now be quiet. Class is starting. Lucien stands up dramatically. Goddess, at least accept one letter. We'd give up the entire world for you. Linley joins in. Just look at me once. Teacher Sue glares at everyone. Silence. Arthur sighs. Miss Sue is always angry and irritated. No wonder she doesn't have a boyfriend. Guys must be terrified of approaching her. Immediately, Teacher Sue points at him. Arthur, focus on your studies instead of thinking about useless things. Your attention hasn't been on your studies lately. Arthur quietly pulls out his phone and texts Gia. Let's have dinner tonight. After class ends, Arthur gets ready to leave. But Teacher Sue suddenly calls out, Arthur, come to my office. Lucien pretends to cry. You bastard. What did you do to get called into Miss Sue's office? When you come back, we're not letting you off easily. A short while later, Arthur arrives at Teacher Sue's office. Teacher Sue looks directly at him. Tell me, whose side are you on? Arthur looks confused. So, you figured it out. In the controversy between Speed and Shakira over the World Cup song, I'm firmly on Speed's side. Teacher Sue grabs him by the collar. I'm not talking about them. Answer my question properly. Arthur looks nervous. Miss Sue, what are you doing? I only picked a side in one argument. Teacher Sue narrows her eyes. Stop acting like a human. There is Dragon Key inside your body. Arthur quickly explains. I didn't do anything. I accidentally swallowed a dragon core. Maybe that's why you're mistaken. Teacher Sue freezes. If he really swallowed a dragon core, he should be dead. A normal human shouldn't be able to survive it. There must be something special about this kid. Finally, she says, fine. I'll confirm your story with the Ocean Dragon Tribe. Arthur becomes suspicious. How does Miss Sue know about dragons? Teacher Sue grabs him again and speaks seriously. Never tell anyone about the Dragon Tribe. The moment you reveal their existence, I'll kill you myself. Arthur raises an eyebrow. And who exactly are you to threaten me like that? Teacher Sue sighs. So you really don't know anything. I'm an inspector. The scene shifts back to Arthur's room. Arthur sits on his bed, frustrated. I've been cultivating for days, but I haven't made any progress. What am I supposed to do? My head is about to explode. Just then, he receives a message from Dragon King Andrew Tate. Come to our house for dinner tonight. Arthur stares at the message. So now I have to eat dinner at a dragon's house? Later that evening, Arthur arrives at the Dragon King's mansion. Andrew's wife warmly greets him. Arthur, eat as much as you want. You're a dragon now too. Arthur smiles politely. Thank you, Mrs. Hongyu. Meanwhile, Andrew stares at a dish on the table. That looks delicious. I'm going to eat it. Mrs. Hongyu immediately stops him. You can't eat that. We spent a fortune on your hair transplant. If you eat that, you'll lose your hair again. And don't forget your diabetes. Arthur nearly bursts out laughing. Then he asks, Mrs. Hongyu, do you know anything about the inspectors? Andrew instantly becomes serious. You've already met an inspector? Arthur nods. She's a teacher at our school. Her name is Su Han. Mrs. Hongyu immediately understands. Now I know who you're talking about. Inspectors have the authority to investigate dragons. For your own safety, stay away from that woman. Arthur asks, are inspectors really that powerful? Andrew nods. The dragon tribe has 8 cultivation levels. Most inspectors are either at the 8th level or even higher. Su Han is powerful enough to defeat both vice principals at the same time. Arthur was shocked. The vice principals look incredibly strong. I never imagined Miss Sue was even stronger. And honestly, she's pretty cute too. Andrew sighs. I'll handle Su Han. Inspectors are extremely dangerous. They have the authority to kill people if necessary. But those rules mainly apply to ordinary people. You don't need to worry. I'm here. And attacking a Sigma isn't easy. Arthur smiles. This family is definitely strange, but at least they already consider me family. Andrew then says seriously, remember this, Arthur. You're special. Once you obtain your Dragon Tribe identity card, even an inspector won't be able to touch you. Mrs. Hongyu asks, how is your cultivation progressing? You still can't conceal your dragon aura, can you? Arthur sighs. I thought no matter how hard I tried, I just couldn't make any progress. Mrs. Hongyu comforts him. You don't need to worry. Leave things to fate. Everything will work out. Then she smiles. Actually, I wanted to ask you something. Mira is excellent in every subject, but her English is terrible. Could you help tutor her during your free time? Mira instantly objects. Mom, I don't need this idiot teaching me anything. Arthur smirks. You're just a little kid, so act like one. Furious, Mira storms away. I don't need help from a useless teacher. Arthur shrugs. Nobody was forcing you. Later, while walking through the corridor, Andrew chuckles. Mira has a bad temper. You understand, right? She's the daughter of a Sigma, so naturally she inherited some Sigma behavior. Arthur laughs. You're absolutely right. Anyway, thanks for dinner. As he leaves, he thinks, no matter what they say, that girl is basically a devil. Suddenly, he checks his pocket. My wallet. I left it at the Dragon King's house. He immediately turns around and heads back. When he arrives, he overhears Andrew and Mrs. Hongyu talking. Mrs. Hongyu sounds worried. Are you sure we shouldn't tell Arthur the truth? Arthur freezes outside the door. They're talking about me. Andrew sighs. No, we have to respect Mira's decision. Mrs. Hongyu shakes her head. But we can't hide this forever. If Arthur doesn't unlock the Dragon Core in time and transfer half of its essence to Mira, she'll die within 2 years. Arthur's eyes widen. 2 years? That's all the time she has left? Andrew continues. Arthur is still just a kid. If he learns that Mira is dying because of him, he'll risk his own life trying to save her. Mrs. Hongyu speaks softly. We could have forcibly removed the Dragon Core from Arthur's body, but he would have died. Mira refused. She said she would never forgive us if anything happened to Arthur. Arthur stands there in complete shock. I thought she was arrogant and selfish, but she was willing to risk her own life for me. Looking at his hands, Arthur notices dragon scales beginning to appear. I have dragon scales now, and there's a dragon core inside my body. Mira gave me all of this. From tomorrow onward, I'll do everything I can to help her. The scene changes once again. Andrew was speaking with Lei Rui. Without the dragon core, Mira won't live past 20. Lei Rui immediately says, then let's kill the human and take the core back. One of the elders nods. Compared to the princess, a normal human life means nothing. Lei Rui stands up. I'm going to kill him. I'll dump his body into the ocean. No one will ever know what happened. Suddenly, a cold voice echoes through the room. I won't allow that. Mira has arrived. Lei Rui frowned and said, but if he doesn't die, there will be no chance of saving you. Mira immediately shook her head. He's innocent. I can't sacrifice someone else's life just to save my own. Andrew smiled calmly. Don't worry. A true Sigma always has a plan B, and I've already thought of another way to save you. The scene shifts. Arthur arrives at Mira's house and knocks on the door. Mira, I'm here to help you with your studies. The door opens slightly, and Mira glares at him. Why are you here again? Arthur crosses his arms. Your English is terrible, remember? I'm here to teach you. Now open the door, or I'll tell Mrs. Hong Yu. Mira immediately replies, I'm not opening it. Arthur shrugs. Fine, then I'm leaving. You can explain everything to Mrs. Hong Yu yourself. The moment he turns around, Mira quickly opens the door. Wait, you can't leave. As she steps forward, her foot catches on the door and she accidentally falls onto Arthur. Both of them instantly jump apart. Embarrassed, Mira says, Last time everything went wrong because I accidentally fell on you. Arthur looks around the room. Your room is huge. Mira closes the door behind him. Don't you feel ashamed? You're entering a girl's room without permission. At that moment, the door lock accidentally breaks. Arthur laughs. What's wrong with entering my fiancé's room? Mira immediately grabs a notebook and smacks him in the face with it. Stop talking nonsense and start teaching. A large bump instantly appears on Arthur's forehead. Mira folds her arms. Why didn't you dodge that? If you couldn't dodge it, that's your fault. And if you complain to Mom, I won't let you off. Arthur rubs his forehead. Don't worry, I'm not blaming you. It wasn't your fault. Mira looks away awkwardly. Then stop holding your forehead like that. Arthur sits down. Fine, let's start. You need to change the tense of this word. Mira stares at the page in confusion. Flurry. But why does the word need to change? If it's already written, just leave it the way it is. After studying for a long time, Mira finally gives up. I don't understand anything. Arthur sighs. English just refuses to enter your brain. Let's take a break. Go play a game for a while, then we'll continue. Mira immediately brightens up. You're not going to tell Mom about this, right? Arthur grins. Fine. Let's play together. The two start gaming. However, every single match ends with Arthur defeating Mira. Arthur smirks. You're weak at everything. Come here. I'll teach you how to play. Mira pouts. I already know how to play. The attack button is for attacking, and the defense button is for defending. Arthur shakes his head. You really don't know how to play. After some coaching, Mira finally wins a match. She jumps excitedly. I won. I actually won. At that moment, Mrs. Hong Yu walks into the room carrying a plate of fruit. Mira, Arthur, I brought some fruit for you. She suddenly notices the two sitting together and smiling. Mrs. Hong Yu immediately turns around. You two enjoy yourselves. I'll leave now. The moment she leaves, Arthur and Mira quickly move farther apart, both blushing. After a brief silence, Mira asks, How is your cultivation going? Are you working hard? Arthur sighs. I've tried everything, but I still haven't reached the first level. I feel like I'm missing something. Mira secretly smiles. Finally, now I can be the teacher. She crosses her arms proudly. You're an idiot. If cultivation isn't entering your brain, you should have asked me earlier. Arthur chuckles. Not everyone can be good at everything, but at least most people understand English. Unlike someone I know. Mira glares at him. Fine, fine. You teach me English. I'll teach you cultivation. She then begins explaining. There are 3 stages to cultivation. The first is communicating with heaven and earth and sensing the energy around you. The second is drawing that energy into your body. The third is releasing that energy back out and controlling it. Arthur nods. So all 3 stages are connected. You can't skip any of them. Mira smiles. Exactly. Think of it like learning how to control water. Water is soft, but maintaining perfect balance is extremely difficult. Arthur finally understands. So I need to balance the flow of energy like water. He immediately sits down and begins cultivating. A short while later, his eyes open in surprise. I did it. I actually cultivated this time. Mira proudly places her hands on her hips. You broke through. I really am an amazing teacher. One explanation from me was enough. Arthur laughs. Well, you're a princess. You can do anything. He stands up. All right, class is over. I'll come visit you again sometime. As Arthur leaves, Mira calls out, keep cultivating exactly the way I taught you. Since you have my dragon core, cultivation won't be difficult for you. The next day arrives. Arthur walks into class and immediately notices everyone staring at him. Why are they all looking at me like that? He quickly sends Jia a message. Let's meet after class today. Putting away his phone, he thinks. Last time I got interrupted. This time I'll explain everything properly. Just then, Jia approaches him. Arthur, you've become pretty famous. You're always around Miss Su and now there's a cute girl too. Arthur laughs awkwardly. I didn't know you were interested in gossip. Jia shakes her head. I'm just repeating what everyone else is saying. But deep down, she wonders, why does it feel like I'm questioning him? Arthur takes a deep breath. Last time Miss Su interrupted me. This time I'll finally explain everything to Jia. He stands up. How about we go to dinner tonight? Later that evening, the two are sitting together at a restaurant. Jia looks at him curiously. The people who took you away that day, did they cause you any trouble? Arthur shakes his head. No. They offered me a part-time job. And the girl everyone is talking about? She's my student. Jia blinks. Your student? Arthur smiles. Yeah. What did you think she was? Gia looks away. Nothing. She's actually really cute. Arthur laughs. Is that a problem? Gia quickly changes the subject. Then why did Miss Sue call you to her office? Arthur answers casually. She was scolding me because of homework. You shouldn't listen to my classmates. They love making things up. Gia hesitates before asking, your friend said you like me. Was that a joke too? Arthur immediately remembers what happened a few days earlier. Back then, Luchan had confidently declared, we're going to help you confess. If Gia becomes your girlfriend, you owe us dinner. Lindley had laughed and said, just wait. The moment she arrives, I'll tell her everything. Arthur had repeatedly denied it. There's nothing going on between me and Gia. Luchan had simply replied, there will be now. Then, when Gia arrived, Lindley stopped her. My friend Arthur really likes you. If you reject him, he'll become the next Obito Uchiha. So please accept my poor friend's love. Gia had taken the letter in surprise. Arthur likes me? Before Arthur could explain, his friends had shoved him in front of her and run away. Back in the present, Arthur sighs. They were just joking. But inside, he thinks, actually I do like you. I just can't say it right now. Gia smiles softly. I know your friends love playing pranks. Still, don't you have anything you want to say? Arthur freezes. Gia leans forward. They were joking about me. But what do you actually think about me? For a moment, Arthur was completely speechless. Gia suddenly bursts into laughter. I'm kidding. Look how red your face is. People like you are so easy to read. At that moment, high above them, Lei Rui watches from the sky. His expression turns cold. How dare this human talk to another girl while being engaged to the princess? Meanwhile, Arthur stands up. We've talked enough for today. Let's meet again tomorrow. Gia waves goodbye and leaves. Arthur watches her go. Gia is such a gentle person. She's completely different from that little devil Mira. Suddenly, Lei Rui appears before him. You seem pretty popular with girls. Arthur immediately becomes alert. Who's there? Lei Rui steps forward. Tell me something. Does that girl know you're already engaged? Arthur frowns. Lei Rui? What are you doing here? Lei Rui's eyes turn cold. The others stopped me before. But now I'm going to teach you a lesson. Arthur sighs. You're misunderstanding the situation. Before he can finish, Lei Rui launches forward. How dare you even speak the princess's name? Arthur barely reacts in time. He's fast. The dragon tribe really is terrifyingly powerful. Lei Rui attacks again without hesitation. Stop dodging. Just accept your punishment. At least then you'll have a peaceful death. In the next instant, Lei Rui closes the distance and delivers a powerful kick straight toward Arthur. Arthur thought to himself, I can't keep up with his speed. Lei Rui continued beating him mercilessly. Lei Rui sneered. Humans are nothing but insects. We ocean dragons can crush you whenever we want. Arthur clenched his fists. If I don't stop him, he'll kill me. No one is coming to save me. Looks like I'll have to use the cultivation techniques Mira taught me. Gathering his energy into his fist, Arthur threw a powerful punch. Lei Rui's eyes widened. This human is actually making progress. He quickly dodged the attack. If that punch had landed, it would have seriously injured me. Looking at Arthur, Lei Rui asked, how did you break through? Arthur slowly stood up. Humans are not insects. I promise you. One day I'll reach your level and crush you instead. If I can't do that, then my name isn't Arthur Joseph. Lei Rui laughed. You've only reached the first level and you're already acting arrogant. You'll never reach the level of the ocean dragons. The next day, Mrs. Hongyu noticed Arthur's injuries. Arthur, what happened to you? How did you get hurt so badly? Arthur forced a smile. I'm fine. I just fell down and got a few scratches. Mira rolled her eyes. It's understandable that you can't cultivate properly, but not knowing how to walk at your age is honestly embarrassing. Arthur silently thought, this is all because of you. Mrs. Hongyu changed the subject. Arthur, are you free this weekend? We're going to Greenstone Mountain. Would you like to come with us? Arthur's eyes lit up. Greenstone Mountain was famous for its beautiful scenery. Of course I'd love to go. Then he looked at Mira. Why don't you seem bothered by this? If your family is taking me along, shouldn't you have a problem with it? Mira crossed her arms. I'm not inviting you. Mom is, and I can't argue with her. Soon, they arrived at Greenstone Mountain. Arthur looked around in amazement. This place is huge. It's my first time here. Mira shrugged. The tickets are extremely expensive. Your family probably couldn't afford them. Arthur immediately protested. Stop talking nonsense. My parents are researchers. We have plenty of money. They just don't like taking it out because they're afraid of taxes. After checking into the hotel, Arthur suddenly noticed Lei Rui watching him from a distance. Lei Rui smirked. Enjoy yourself while you can. Your smile won't last much longer. While Arthur was admiring the scenery, the Dragon King's family suddenly disappeared. Where did they all go? I'll just wait for them in my room. Then another thought crossed his mind. Wait, whose room am I sharing? Could it be Mira's room? Blushing, Arthur nervously opened the door. Instead of Mira, he found the Dragon King standing there. Andrew casually said, a true Sigma always takes a shower before going out. I've already showered. You should go shower too. Arthur nearly cried. What was I expecting, and what did I actually get? Later they arrived at the mountain trail. Mira sighed. I have no idea why Dad wanted me to climb the mountain with you, Arthur complained. Your dad took the cable car himself. Then he gave me a speech about how a true Sigma climbs mountains on foot. That's why I'm stuck here with you. Mira looked away. Just stay away from me, Arthur thought. Mrs. Hong Yu asked me to look after you. Otherwise I wouldn't be here either. Suddenly, Mira spotted a snake and froze in fear. As she stumbled backward, Arthur quickly caught her. Relax. All the snakes on this mountain had their venom removed long ago. They're harmless. Mira immediately stepped away. I know. I was just startled. Arthur held out his hand. Come on. Hold my hand or you'll fall again. Eventually they reached the summit. The sun was already setting. Mira said, It took us until evening to get here. Then she pointed toward an ancient tree. Do you see that tree? It's over 1,000 years old. Master John once cultivated here. Arthur looked surprised. You were exhausted a few minutes ago. How are you suddenly so energetic? You didn't set up some kind of trap for me, did you? Soon they arrived at a stone tablet. Arthur examined the inscription. What does it say? Mira explained. It was written by Master Zhang. It says that if you can control your mind, you can accomplish anything. The only way to command water is to first gain control over yourself. Arthur nodded. Yeah, I think I understand. Mira smiled. Then try practicing your spirit scroll. Just then, a fat, bald man crashed into Arthur. The man's phone fell to the ground and shattered. Immediately, he started shouting. Are you blind? You broke my phone. Now you're paying for a new one. Arthur frowned. What exactly do you want? The bald man smirked. Money. And an apology. Mira stepped forward angrily. How dare you talk like that? However, she suddenly twisted her ankle and had to sit down. The bald man laughed. You were acting pretty tough a second ago. What happened now? Arthur immediately stepped in front of her. Stay away from Mira. The bald man grinned. So you want to play the hero? Mira grabbed Arthur's arm. Don't fight him. He's a cultivator. You can't beat him. Arthur smiled confidently. Don't worry. I'll handle this. Meanwhile, Lei Rui watched from a distance. Let's see how you deal with this. The cultivation method I gave you was incomplete. You barely reached the first level. You'll never reach the second level. The man I hired is a cultivator. He's going to teach Arthur a painful lesson. Arthur suddenly turned and ran. We'll start fighting when you manage to catch me. The bald man jumped after him. Don't get cocky, kid. Arthur easily dodged to the side. I didn't know people as fat as you could run. If you've got the guts, come hit me. Enraged, the bald man attacked again. But Arthur dodged at the last moment. Arthur's eyes widened. This guy is ridiculously strong. One strike just destroyed part of the temple. Is he even human? The bald man emerged from the rubble. How long are you planning to keep dodging? Arthur shrugged. I'm not stupid enough to let your attacks hit me. The man charged again. Yet Arthur continued evading every attack. I'm nowhere near his level in strength, but I'm much faster than he is. If I want to win, I need to use my speed. With that thought, Arthur began circling around the bald man at incredible speed. Dust filled the air. The bald man started coughing. I can't even see where he is. Unable to locate Arthur, he recklessly charged forward. At that exact moment, Arthur balanced his energy perfectly and redirected the man's momentum, throwing him across the battlefield. Watching from afar, Lei Rui clicked his tongue. What an idiot. He knew he couldn't match Arthur's speed, yet he kept chasing him. Later, Arthur carried the injured Mira on his shoulders. Mira protested. Put me down. I can walk. Arthur shook his head. No, you're injured. The next day, Arthur was walking down the street while reading a cultivation manual. I need to clear my mind. I need to feel as though the entire ocean is speaking to me. Only then will I cultivate properly. Suddenly, someone stepped in front of him. Are you Arthur? Arthur looked up. Yeah. Do you need something? The young man smiled. Not really. You've been pretty famous lately. I heard Miss Su called you to her office. You're really lucky. Arthur sighed. She called me there to punish me, he thought. Miss Su really has fans everywhere. The student looked jealous. I'm honestly jealous. You're the first student Miss Su has ever invited to her office. Arthur laughed awkwardly. Maybe I'm just lucky. Anyway, if that's all, I'm leaving. The young man suddenly grabbed his arm. I'm your senior, and you're ignoring me? That's pretty rude. Just then, Jia came running toward Arthur. The guy looked at Jia and asked, Why are you here? And what exactly is your relationship with this guy? Jia replied, I'm Arthur's classmate. Arthur frowned and said, Why does it matter to you who she is or what relationship she has with me? The guy smirked. Actually, I recognize you. I've seen you many times near the school's running track. You always come to watch Arthur practice. Jia immediately blushed. No, that was just a coincidence. The boy clicked his tongue in annoyance. Miss Su likes him. Another cute girl is always around him. And now this girl too? Then he grabbed Jia's wrist and shouted, What is so special about this guy that all the girls are obsessed with him? Arthur immediately stepped forward and knocked his hand away. Don't treat Jia like that. The boy glared at him. You want me to apologize? Fine. Then you'll have to compete against me. Arthur crossed his arms. What kind of competition? The boy grinned. A race. You practice running all the time anyway. The school's sports day is coming up and I'm competing in the 1500-meter race. If you beat me, I'll apologize to her in front of everyone. But if you lose, you'll kneel before me. And in front of the whole school, you'll call me Dad. Arthur nodded without hesitation. Fine, no problem. The boy turned around. Then I'll see you on the field. After he left, Gia looked worried. Arthur, what have you done? You know he's incredibly strong. His name is Huang. He's the vice captain of our school's basketball team and one of the best athletes in the school. Beating him won't be easy. Arthur smiled. I don't care. He still has to apologize to you. Then he looked at her curiously. By the way, do you really watch me while I'm running? Gia quickly shook her head. No, it was just a coincidence. But honestly, you're a really good runner. Soon, sports day arrived. The entire audience was cheering for Huang. The girls shouted excitedly, Huang, you're amazing! Gia sighed. He really is popular at school. Arthur shrugged. Why wouldn't he be? He's tall, handsome, rich, and athletic. Gia narrowed her eyes. Why does it sound like you're jealous of him? Arthur smiled. By the way, who are you going to cheer for? Without thinking, Gia answered, of course yours. Arthur couldn't help smiling. That makes me very happy to hear. A moment later, Gia handed him a bottle of water. Go warm up. Just then, Mira arrived. Arthur, I came to support you too. Arthur looked surprised. Mira? What are you doing here? Mira crossed her arms. You're my student. I came to watch you run. Then she turned toward Gia. Hello, my name is Mira. Gia smiled politely. It's nice to meet you. I'm Gia. And just like the rumors say, you're really beautiful. Mira laughed. You're cute too. Are you Arthur's girlfriend? Gia quickly waved her hands. No, we're just classmates. Mira raised an eyebrow. But you were giving him water just now, Gia replied. I'm the class monitor. I look after everyone. Arthur looked at both of them and thought, why do I feel like I'm trapped between the two of them? Then Mira suddenly smiled. You know, Gia, Arthur has a huge secret. He's already engaged. Gia froze in shock. Arthur immediately interrupted. Gia, don't listen to her nonsense. Mira continued teasing him. And his fiancée isn't ordinary at all. She's incredibly powerful. At that moment, an announcement echoed through the stadium. All participants in the 1500-meter race, please report to the field. Arthur sighed in relief. All right, take care both of you. I'm heading to the race. Soon the race began. At first, Arthur was far behind everyone else. Some girls in the audience were chatting. Huang is definitely going to win. Did you hear? A guy named Arthur actually made a bet with Huang. Another girl laughed. Whoever made that bet is going to lose badly. Meanwhile, Arthur was trying to move forward, but several runners were blocking his path. Mira became increasingly irritated. If you lose, I won't forgive you. Arthur clenched his fists. I can't lose. I need to increase my speed gradually. Little by little, he started overtaking runners. The announcer shouted excitedly, Arthur has passed 5 runners and moved into 3rd place. Gia's eyes lit up. Arthur is really amazing at running. The announcer continued, the gap between Arthur and Huang is getting smaller and smaller. However, Huang suddenly accelerated. Arthur frowned. At this speed, I won't be able to win. Huang smirked. Get ready to lose. From the stands, Mira shouted. If you want to drag that idiot to his knees, then you can't lose here. Arthur smiled bitterly. Easy for her to say. Huang is the ace of the basketball team. He trains every day. Beating him won't be easy. Then a thought flashed through his mind. There's moisture in the air, and water contains power. Whether water exists in liquid form or in the air, it's still water. I can use it. Focusing on the moisture around him, Arthur began increasing his speed. Mira's eyes widened. He's using spiritual energy. Arthur broke through again. Noticing Arthur's sudden acceleration, Huang sped up as well. Only 100 meters left. I'm definitely going to win. Arthur narrowed his eyes. Like water, I need to move even faster. With one final burst of speed, he surged past Huang and crossed the finish line first. Breathing heavily, Arthur shouted, I won. Huang stood frozen in disbelief. Impossible. How could I lose? Both Mira and Gia jumped with excitement. Arthur won. Mira smiled. Let's go congratulate him. As they walked over, Gia quietly asked, Mira, was what you said about Arthur being engaged true? Mira looked at her carefully. You care about Arthur a lot, don't you? And what if what I said is true? Gia lowered her head. Then what can I do? I'll still congratulate him. Mira suddenly burst into laughter. You're taking this way too seriously. I was only joking. A few moments later, they reached Arthur. Arthur immediately walked up to Huang. You lost the bet. You owe Gia an apology. Huang's face darkened. I'm sorry. After saying that, he quickly left. But deep down, he was furious. Arthur, you shouldn't have done this. This isn't over. Arthur turned toward Gia. I kept my promise. Gia smiled warmly. Thank you, Arthur. Mira crossed her arms. Why do I suddenly feel like I'm the third wheel here? Arthur laughed. No way. I only won because you cheered me on. Mira proudly lifted her chin. I knew it. You won because of me. Without me, you couldn't have done anything. Gia smiled. Now that Arthur has won, we should celebrate later. Meanwhile, high above them, Lei Rui had been watching everything. So you've reached the 2nd level already, kid. I seriously underestimated you. That night, Arthur was celebrating with his friends. Lu Chan laughed. I knew you were a good runner, but I never expected you to beat Wang. Lin Li grinned. This is what they call the power of love. When a beautiful girl is supporting you, you somehow find a way to win. I wish girls supported us like that. Arthur shook his head. I was just lucky. At that moment, several boys approached their table. Are you Arthur? Arthur looked at them calmly. What do you want? One of them sneered. Don't get too full of yourself just because you won one championship. Looking at you makes me want to beat you up. Mira rolled her eyes and said, honestly, looking at you makes me want to beat you up too. But I'm holding myself back, so don't create unnecessary trouble for us. Meanwhile, Gia looked around and realized that every single one of them was a member of the basketball team. Arthur crossed his arms and said, You already lost the 1500-meter race? Why are you here this time? Do you want to compete with me again? One of the boys stepped forward. You only got lucky once. Try beating us in basketball. If you win, we'll never bother you again. Soon, everyone gathered at the basketball court. The boys smirked. If you can score even one basket, we'll consider it your victory. We don't want you accusing us of bullying you later. Arthur nodded. Fine, but if I win, you and your friends will never cause trouble for me again. Lu Chan immediately whispered. I've known Arthur for a long time, and he doesn't even know how to play basketball. He's definitely going to lose. At the same time, Gia secretly sent a message to someone asking them to come. Arthur stepped onto the court. All right, let's begin. As Arthur started dribbling, one of the players commented, For a beginner, Arthur is doing surprisingly well. But no matter what, he's still a rookie. Arthur frowned. He blocked my path. Now I'll have to rebuild my rhythm from scratch. This guy is huge. It feels like I'm trying to score over a mountain. Arthur jumped for a shot, but the defender immediately moved in front of him. Without hesitation, Arthur adjusted his angle and attempted a difficult side shot. The player laughed. What makes you think a rookie can beat me? However, Arthur quietly channeled his spiritual energy. The ball curved through the air and dropped perfectly into the basket. Swish! The basketball team members were stunned. How is that possible? Only professional players can make a shot like that. Even for us, that move is incredibly difficult. Just then, the coach arrived and smacked several players on the head with a basketball. You idiots! Why do you keep causing trouble? Gia looked at Arthur in surprise. I had no idea you were this good at basketball. Mira crossed her arms. The race is over, so you guys have fun. I'm leaving. Arthur immediately stopped her. It's already late. It's not safe for you to go home alone. I'll walk you back. As they walked together, Arthur asked, Why are you so angry? Did I do something to upset you? Mira looked away. Are you sure you're going to leave Gia behind? Arthur sighed. I already told you. We're just friends. Then he paused before grinning. Wait a second. Are you jealous? Mira immediately punched him on the arm. Stop talking nonsense. Arthur rubbed his arm and groaned. Hey, that actually hurts. The next day, Arthur arrived at Miss Su's office. Miss Su looked at him with surprise. You reached the second level in such a short time. That's impressive. Then she took out a pendant and handed it to him. This necklace contains a special formation. It will hide your aura. After putting it on, Arthur immediately felt different. Miss Su explained, Your aura was overflowing before. But this formation will absorb that excess energy back into your body. You'll never suffer from a lack of energy while it's active. However, the formation will only last for 1 month. Within that time, you must reach the 3rd level. If you fail and the other inspectors discover you, they'll kill you immediately. She continued seriously. And let me make one thing clear. Breaking through to the 3rd level is far more difficult than the first 2. There are 108 acupuncture points inside your body. When you break through, all of them will open at once. The pain will be unimaginable. You'll have to continue cultivating while enduring it. Arthur immediately sat down and began cultivating. Miss Su watched quietly. For a human, you're exceptionally talented. At that moment, Arthur's phone suddenly rang. It was his neighbor. Arthur, come home quickly. Your grandmother fell down the stairs. She's unconscious. The phone slipped from Arthur's hand. A childhood memory flashed through his mind. Several children had surrounded him and were bullying him. Nobody likes you. Even your parents abandoned you. Young Arthur shook his head. That's not true. My mom and dad work far away. That's why they can't visit often. The children laughed. You're lying. No parents would leave their child. They abandoned you because they don't love you. Just then, Arthur's grandmother appeared. How dare you bully my grandson? If I ever catch you doing this again, I'll break your legs. Arthur, I made your favorite dinner. But Arthur angrily pushed the plate away. I don't want this. I want mom and dad. His grandmother gently smiled. Don't worry. They'll definitely come back one day. And if they don't, I'll beat them up myself. Arthur hugged her tightly. Grandma, you're the best. I wish mom and dad were as kind as you. Back in the present, blood suddenly dripped from Arthur's mouth. Miss Su immediately frowned. You have a dragon core inside your body. You can't let your emotions fluctuate so violently. It's dangerous for your cultivation. Arthur wiped away the blood and replied firmly, I don't care. I have to save my grandmother. The scene shifted to an ambulance trapped in traffic. The driver apologized. I'm sorry, Mr. Arthur. An accident happened on the bridge ahead. The traffic is completely blocked. It'll take at least an hour to reach the hospital. Arthur clenched his fists. What do I do now? We have to cross that bridge to reach the hospital, but the accident is blocking everything. Suddenly, he called Mrs. Hongyu. Unfortunately, the call wouldn't connect. Arthur quickly sent a message. Mrs. Hongyu, my grandmother has been injured. Our ambulance is stuck in traffic because of an accident on the bridge. Could you please arrange for her to be admitted to a nearby hospital? It's extremely urgent. Please reply as soon as you see this. A few moments later, Mrs. Hongyu replied, I'll handle it. Take her to East Ocean Hospital. Arthur immediately felt relieved. Thank you so much, Mrs. Hongyu. Soon, Arthur arrived at East Ocean Hospital. He ran through the halls in panic. Grandma can't die. Nothing can happen to her. The moment he saw his grandmother lying on the hospital bed, his heart nearly stopped. Please don't tell me she's gone forever. Just then, Mira appeared beside him. She folded her arms and said, You're unbelievably reckless. Who runs around a hospital like that? You nearly scared your grandmother to death. The story then flashed back 30 minutes earlier. Mira had personally transferred Arthur's grandmother into a taxi. Examining her injuries, Mira frowned. She suffered a serious head injury. I have to heal her. If she leaves untreated, she could die. Without hesitation, Mira began channeling her spiritual energy into Arthur's grandmother. Lei Rui immediately panicked. Princess, what are you doing? You no longer have your dragon core. Using your power like this is extremely dangerous. Mira shook her head. I don't care. I have to save her. Despite the risk, she continued pouring energy into the old woman's body. Eventually, Arthur's grandmother recovered. However, the strain was too much. Mira collapsed unconscious immediately afterward. Lei Rui looked at Arthur angrily. To save your grandmother, our young princess pushed herself until she fainted. You already took her dragon core, and now she's carrying even more burdens because of you. Mira weakly smiled. When you sent that message, Mom was busy in the kitchen. She never even saw it. It's a good thing I checked my phone in time. Arthur froze. So Mira was the one who replied to my message. Grandma survived because of her. Arthur's grandmother gently held Mira's hand. You're such a wonderful girl. You're not only beautiful, but kind-hearted too. You'll make a perfect wife one day. Arthur immediately burst out laughing. Grandma, what are you talking about? She's nice. She's a little devil. His grandmother immediately glared at him. Arthur instantly surrendered. My parents already aren't on my side. Now even Grandma has switched teams. Later, Arthur arrived at Mira's school. As he looked around, he saw children everywhere laughing, playing, and enjoying themselves. Arthur thought to himself, I'm only a high school student, but being in a middle school makes me feel incredibly old. As he walked down the corridor, he overheard a few boys talking. That Mira from class 3 is really pretty. Another boy replied, Yeah, she's a little hot-tempered, but who cares? I really like her. I wish she could be our friend. Arthur smiled inwardly. Looks like Mira is pretty popular. He knocked on a classroom door and said, I'm here to pick up Mira. Could you please send her out? The teacher opened the door and looked at him suspiciously. Who are you? I've never seen you before. Arthur quickly replied, I'm Mira's cousin. Her parents sent me here. The teacher nodded. She's at the tennis court right now. Then she lowered her voice. By the way, tell her parents something for me. Mira has been spending a lot of time with a boy lately, and that boy doesn't seem very reliable. She keeps receiving love letters from boys, and recently she's been hanging around with a high school student quite often. As Arthur walked toward the tennis court, he couldn't help but think, I came here to pick Mira up because she helped my grandmother so much. But now it feels like I might be interrupting her date with her boyfriend. Let's see who this boyfriend of hers is. Soon, Arthur arrived at the tennis court. Everyone was cheering. Mira is amazing at tennis. Arthur looked around. Let's see who this boyfriend is. At that moment, several boys approached Mira. You played really well. Would you like to play a couple of rounds with us? Mira shook her head. No, I'm busy. Some of her classmates whispered among themselves. Those high school boys are here again. They keep bothering Mira. We should tell the teacher. The boys ignored them. Don't be nervous, Mira. Playing with us won't be a problem. Suddenly, Arthur stepped forward and grabbed one of their wrists. I happen to be free. How about you play with me instead? Mira's eyes widened. Arthur, what are you doing here? Arthur smiled. Give me 10 minutes. I'll finish one round with these guys and be right back. He picked up a racket and prepared to serve. I'm going to hit this ball with everything I've got. The moment Arthur struck the ball, it shot forward like a bullet. The boys' expressions instantly changed. If that ball had hit us, we'd probably be dead. Physically, this guy is a monster. He's bullying us just because we're weaker than him. Arthur calmly replied, admit defeat. And from now on, stay away from Mira. This time I aimed beside you. Next time, the ball might hit your face. The boys immediately backed off. Arthur then turned to Mira. Come on, let's go home. Mira crossed her arms. You're acting pretty heroic after helping me, Arthur shrugged. Who said I came here to help you? I was just passing by and thought I'd help a little kid. Mira instantly became furious. Who are you calling a little kid? I'm not letting you get away with that. Then she added, actually, I was thinking about taking you to the royal palace of Atlantis. But after seeing your attitude, I've decided you're not worthy of visiting Atlantis. Arthur immediately panicked and chased after her. Wait, I want to visit Atlantis too. The scene shifted. Soon they arrived at the royal palace of Atlantis. Arthur stared at the magnificent city in amazement. I've only heard stories about this place. This is the first time I've ever seen the legendary royal palace. The guards immediately bowed. Welcome back, princess. Arthur looked around curiously. Everything here feels strange. The plants are strange. The creatures are strange. Everything is completely different from the human world. At that moment, a butler approached. Young master, welcome. Mira yawned. Arthur, feel free to look around on your own. I'm tired. The butler bowed politely. Mr. Arthur, please follow me. I'll give you a tour. As they explored Atlantis, Arthur noticed a massive frozen structure. What's that place? The butler explained. That's the cell. We keep dangerous criminals imprisoned there. Even fairies who entered the human world without permission are locked inside. The most impressive thing is that not a single prisoner has ever escaped. You could call it the safest prison in the world. Curious, Arthur reached out and touched the ice. Crack! The entire section of ice suddenly shattered. Arthur froze. What just happened? The butler looked even more shocked. A mortal broke Atlantis' eternal ice? It seems your spiritual energy is truly extraordinary. So extraordinary that even this ice couldn't withstand it. His expression immediately turned serious. This is a serious matter. Please stay here and watch the prisoner. I'll report this immediately. The butler hurried away. Inside the broken cell, a fairy looked at Arthur with tears in her eyes. Sir, are you the one who saved me? Arthur awkwardly scratched his head. Well, I guess I accidentally set you free. The fairy bowed deeply. Thank you so much for saving my life. My name is Lily. Just then, another fairy rushed over. Lily, you're out? If the celestial world finds out you've escaped, you'll be in terrible danger. Lily sighed. It's been such a long time. They've probably forgotten about us. We were maids in the celestial world. But because we entered the human world without permission, we were sentenced to 200 years in prison, and we've been locked up in Atlantis ever since. The second fairy smiled sadly. I never thought we'd be able to talk to each other again. Arthur immediately replied, now that you're free, you should leave as soon as possible. If someone finds out you're out of prison, they'll definitely lock you up again. Lily looked worried. But what about you? Helping a prisoner escape is a serious crime. The scene then shifted to the royal court. The Dragon King looked at Arthur and asked, Arthur, what do you have to say for yourself? Just as Arthur was about to explain, the Dragon King suddenly burst into laughter. Lily's sentence ended a long time ago. I simply forgot to release her. You actually did a good thing, my future son-in-law. Lily and Lisha immediately hugged Arthur. Thank you, Savior. At that moment, Mira walked into the hall. What is all this noise? You people are being so loud that I can't even sleep properly. Then she noticed Arthur. Arthur, what are you doing here? Arthur gulped nervously. Mira looks really angry. What should I do now? The butler quickly stepped in. Princess, your birthday is next month. Perhaps Mr. Arthur should prepare a gift for you. That would definitely make you happy. Later, Arthur arrived at a shopping mall. What should I buy for Mira? Well, her English is terrible. I should buy her an English guidebook. She'll definitely love that. Standing in front of a bookstore, Arthur carefully examined several books. Which one should I choose? An easy language guidebook should be perfect. Suddenly, he accidentally bumped into Gia. Arthur? What a coincidence. Soon, the two of them sat down at a cafe. Gia smiled. So you're here to buy a birthday gift for Mira? Arthur nodded. Yeah, she's my student, so I should get her something. What did you buy? Can I see it? Arthur proudly showed her the book. Look, the best English learning book available. This will be the perfect gift for Mira. Gia stared at him speechlessly. How can someone possibly choose such a terrible gift? A while later, they arrived at a toy store. Girls love cute things. Arthur picked up several dolls, but Gia rejected every single one. Then Arthur noticed a small ring with a tiny devil design on it. He smiled. This ring suits that little devil perfectly. She's always acting bossy around me, but sometimes she's surprisingly cute. Gia looked at him curiously. Are you planning to give Mira a ring? Arthur nodded. I think it's adorable. Gia immediately shook her head. You can't give a ring to your student. People usually give rings to their girlfriends or fiancés. Wouldn't that be weird? Arthur froze. Why did I choose a ring in the first place? Am I starting to see Mira as my fiancé? No, that's impossible. She's just a kid in my eyes. He quickly grabbed a doll instead. This looks pretty good. Gia smiled. You're putting a lot of effort into Mira's gift. Arthur replied without thinking. Of course I am. She's my fiancée. Gia raised an eyebrow. You're what? Arthur quickly corrected himself. Nothing. She's an important future contributor to our country. That's why. However, deep down, Arthur felt guilty. I've been lying to Gia for a long time, and I don't like it at all. Later, Arthur thanked her. Gia, thank you so much for helping me shop today. You've done me a huge favor. Gia smiled. If you want to repay me, come somewhere with me. Soon, they arrived outside a large lecture hall. My idols are giving a lecture today. Arthur looked surprised. I didn't know you had idols. You're always so serious. I never imagined you could be a fan of someone. Gia nodded excitedly. Today, China's most famous scientists are giving a lecture. The whole world admires their work. Arthur smiled. So your idols are scientists. That's actually pretty amazing, Gia continued. They completed their academic degrees at a very young age. As they walked inside, Gia suddenly lost her balance. Before she could fall, Arthur caught her. Embarrassed, Arthur asked, "Are you okay?" Gia smiled shyly. "Thank you for saving me." When Arthur noticed the books she was carrying, he suddenly realized something. "So she's been reading books about my parents," Gia excitedly said. "The lecture is about to start. Let's go." Soon, they were seated inside the hall. Arthur sighed inwardly. If it were up to me, I would have never come here. But I promised Gia, and I keep my promises. A while later, the lecture ended. Gia glared at him. "Arthur, you slept through the entire lecture. You have no idea how hard it was for me to get these tickets. On top of that, your snoring was so loud that everyone around us got annoyed." Arthur scratched his head awkwardly. "Sorry, but because of me, you'll get an extra autograph." Gia rolled her eyes. "You don't need to work so hard. You should get more rest. Otherwise, you'll make yourself sick." At that moment, Arthur handed over a notebook. "Please give me your autograph." The two lecturers suddenly stared at him in shock. "Arthur," Gia quickly spoke up. "Mr. Joseph, Mrs. Yu, I'm a huge fan of yours." However, they barely noticed her. Their attention remained fixed on Arthur. Gia looked confused. "Arthur, do you know them?" Arthur immediately replied, "No, I don't know them." Mr. Joseph sighed. "Arthur still hasn't forgiven us." Gia laughed awkwardly. "Arthur's surname is Joseph too. You must share the same ancestors." Mrs. Yu smiled. "Thank you for attending our lecture." Then she looked at Gia. "Is this young man your boyfriend?" Gia blushed. "Not yet." Mrs. Yu smiled mischievously. "Not yet? So that means he'll be your boyfriend in the future?" Gia immediately panicked. "No, that's not what I meant." Meanwhile, Arthur's thoughts went wild. Does Gia actually like me? Afterward, Arthur and Gia hurried away. Back inside the hall, Mr. Joseph sighed heavily. "Our son is still angry with us. And honestly, he has every right to be. We focused so much on our research that we completely neglected him. We failed as parents." Mrs. Yu nodded. "At least he has a good friend now. That makes me happy." The scene shifted again. Gia pouted. "I finally got the chance to stand in front of my idols. But because of you, I couldn't even ask them a single question. I had prepared so many things to ask." Arthur laughed helplessly. "Why are you so angry?" Gia replied, "Because you don't understand how amazing they are." Arthur smiled bitterly. "Trust me, nobody understands how amazing they are better than I do." Gia handed him several books. "Here, you should read these too." Just then, Linlei suddenly ran toward them. "Arthur, Gia, hurry!" Something terrible happened. Lu Chan got into a fight with the basketball team. Arthur's face instantly changed. Wait, is Lu Chan fighting them by himself? The scene shifted to the basketball team. One of the players sneered. "Say that again." Lu Chan glared back. "I'll say it once. I'll say it 100 times. Arthur is 100 times better than your Huang." The players laughed. "Looks like he still hasn't learned his lesson. We'll have to beat him some more." Suddenly, Lu Chan bit one of them on the arm. Enraged, the player lifted his leg to kick Lu Chan in the head, but before the kick could land, Arthur appeared. "Stop right now." The players turned around. "Look who decided to show up. We suggest you call an ambulance before this starts, because nobody will be able to save you afterward." Lu Chan shouted, "Arthur, run! These guys are really strong." Arthur slowly released his spiritual energy. "I already warned you. Don't ever touch my friends." The next second, he delivered a devastating punch to the guy in the yellow jacket. The impact was brutal. Arthur continued attacking until the man's condition became miserable. "I gave you plenty of chances, but you refused to listen." Then Arthur remembered Miss Sue's warning. "If you want to survive, stay calm. Your emotions are dangerous. If your mood fluctuates too much, it'll destroy your body." The moment he remembered those words, Arthur suddenly coughed up blood and collapsed. "I got too angry." One of the players smirked. "You were acting tough a second ago, but now you're already on your knees. You're finished." The entire basketball team rushed him. Together, they beat Arthur mercilessly. Gia stepped forward in panic. "We have to save Arthur." Linlei immediately stopped her. "Stay back. These guys are dangerous. They might hurt you too." Gia shook her head. "But if we don't stop them, they'll kill Arthur." Linlei clenched his fists and stepped forward. "As long as I'm here, that won't happen." He grabbed one of the attackers, but the group immediately turned on him as well. "Get lost, idiot." Watching his friends get beaten because of him, Arthur's heart sank. Lu Chan, Linlei, they're getting hurt because of me. What's the point of having power if I can't even protect my friends? With that thought, Arthur slowly forced himself back to his feet. I won't let my friends get hurt. The green-haired guy sneered. So you managed to stand up again? Fine, I'll put you down for good this time. But before he could attack, Arthur grabbed his arm and landed a devastating punch straight to his face. Then Arthur charged forward and started beating the entire group. Within moments, he had defeated all of them. However, the moment the fight ended, Arthur collapsed unconscious. Just then, Miss Sue arrived. Kid, I told you before, you must stay calm. She turned to Jia and said, go bring Vice Principal Shorty, I'll take care of Arthur for now. Miss Sue carried Arthur to the teacher's office and began healing him. After some time, Arthur finally opened his eyes. Where are my friends? Miss Sue sighed. Relax, they're all fine. You should be worrying about yourself. You were on the verge of dying. I already warned you not to let your emotions get out of control, but you didn't listen. You even beat those students half to death. Arthur's expression darkened. I don't regret hitting them at all. How dare those bastards lay their hands on my friends? Miss Sue shook her head. Since you managed to break through this time, I'll let it slide. But if you do something like this again, I'll personally punish you. Arthur nodded. Understood, Miss Sue. Thank you for the warning. Miss Sue continued. Next month, Jingguo University will host a basketball tournament. If you injure any more basketball team members, it could create serious problems. Arthur replied, Fine. If anything happens from now on, I'll take responsibility. Miss Sue looked at him seriously. But they won't leave your friends alone. Arthur smirked. They only touched my friends because I wasn't there. They won't be able to do that again. After Arthur left, Miss Sue smiled to herself. What an impressive kid. Standing outside the principal's office, Arthur thought, I never imagined I'd have to use the princess's identity someday. At that moment, a teacher approached. The basketball team's coach is currently speaking with the principal. You'll have to wait for a while. Arthur immediately recognized the name. The basketball team's coach was Ji Wenju, a famous figure at East Ocean University. His reputation was known throughout the entire country. He was considered one of the core figures of Chinese basketball. Because of his accomplishments, even the principal respected him greatly. If Coach Wenju files a complaint against me, I could be in serious trouble. Just then, one of the basketball team members walked over. What are you doing here, kid? Did you come to beg for forgiveness in front of the principal? Don't forget, nobody's going to forgive you. The police will arrive soon, and you'll end up in jail. Arthur clenched his fists. I can't fight them again. The player continued mocking him. Our coach is speaking with the vice principal right now. Soon, you and your friends will be expelled. Today you'll learn what happens when you mess with us. Arthur was about to respond when Coach Wenzu suddenly appeared. Everyone, quiet down. The guy in the yellow jacket immediately complained. Coach G, he's the one who beat us up. Please teach him a lesson. Arthur stepped forward. I injured them, so I'm willing to apologize. But they injured my friends too. To everyone's surprise, Coach Wenju punched one of his own players in the head. The players cried out, Coach, we're already injured. Why are you hitting us? Wenju glared at them. Arthur, these idiots won't bother your friends again. Arthur scratched his head. Honestly, I was at fault too. You didn't need to hit them that hard. Wenju laughed. You don't need to apologize. I've already received excellent compensation. Just then, Vice Principal Shorty arrived. I've reached a decision regarding this incident. He posted an official notice. The notice stated that several basketball team members had bullied other students, which led to the fight. Since some team members were now injured, Arthur would temporarily join the basketball team as a replacement. Arthur blinked in surprise. Wait, we're not being punished? The basketball team members were equally shocked. What? Arthur has been recruited into our team? Arthur looked confused. But I've never even played basketball seriously. I've never shown any interest in it. So why are you recruiting me? Coach Wenzu smiled. I told you already. I received my compensation. The scene then shifted to Huang, who was practicing basketball. Coach Wenzu walked onto the court and announced, Everyone, gather around. Starting today, Arthur will play power forward for our team. Huang immediately objected. Coach, he's a complete beginner. How can we make him our power forward? Without answering, Wenju grabbed a basketball and threw it toward the basket. Arthur, score. Arthur instantly sprinted forward. He leaped into the air and slammed the ball through the hoop. The entire basketball team was stunned. His vertical jump is insane, and his control over his strength is incredible. Meanwhile, Arthur thought, next time I'll jump with my left foot. My right foot doesn't generate enough power. The entire team started cheering. Arthur, you're amazing. If you're already this good as a beginner, imagine how strong you'll be as a professional. Only Huang looked annoyed. Coach Wenju nodded. All right, I've arranged everyone's positions. Arthur, come with me. The next scene showed Jia practicing basketball. Jia, come here. Jia smiled. Coach Wenju? Arthur, how are you both? Wenju pointed toward her. Meet my younger sister, Jia. Starting today, she'll be your private trainer. Arthur froze. Your younger sister? And my private trainer? Jia immediately pushed her brother away. Brother, You can leave now? I'll handle everything from here. Arthur looked at her in disbelief. Gia, you're going to teach me how to play basketball? Gia crossed her arms. What? Just because you're strong doesn't mean everyone else is weak. I'm actually very good at basketball. Try blocking me. I'll show you my skills. Arthur thought to himself, so from now on, I'll be training with Gia every day. She's my personal trainer. While he was distracted by that thought, Gia suddenly slipped past him. She accidentally collided with Arthur and fell right on top of him. Embarrassed, Gia quickly stood up. I slipped. By the way, you can't directly block someone like that. It's against the rules. Let's start with shooting instead. I'll teach you how to properly throw the ball. She demonstrated patiently. Support the ball with your left hand. Use your right hand to guide the direction. Then use your fingers to release the ball into the basket. Arthur nodded. All right, I'll try. Unfortunately, he simply threw the ball forward. Gia sighed. I told you to use your fingers. That's enough training for today. We'll continue tomorrow. The scene then shifted to the Dragon restaurant. Arthur's family and the Dragon King's family were having dinner together. Mr. Joseph smiled at Mira. It's hard to believe such a cute little girl saved my mother's life. Mira is truly adorable. I wish I had a daughter too. The Dragon King laughed. If you don't have a daughter, you can always have a daughter-in-law. Mrs. Hongyu immediately smacked him lightly. What kind of nonsense are you saying? Nearby, Mira was blushing after hearing their conversation. Then Mrs. Yu casually said, but doesn't Arthur already have a girlfriend? The girl he attended that lecture with? The entire table froze. Crack. Mira accidentally snapped her chopsticks in half. Arthur immediately protested. What are you talking about? She's just my class monitor. At that moment, Dragon King's younger brother, Tristan Tate, slammed his fist onto the table. You're a playboy. A real man would never act like that. Andrew Tate quickly apologized. Mr. Joseph, please don't mind him. That's my younger brother, Tristan Tate. He doesn't know how to watch his mouth. Mira smiled sweetly. Uncle Tristan, you're really nice. Tristan immediately softened. You're my precious niece. Of course I'd stand up for you. Mira giggled. Thank you, uncle. By the way, some high school students were bullying me recently. Tristan's eyes widened. What? Who dared bully my niece? Mira pointed at Arthur. Don't worry. Arthur already taught them a lesson. Arthur blinked. Mira is actually speaking up for me? At the same time, Mrs. Hongyu thought, Arthur protected Mira? Arthur waved his hand. It wasn't a big deal. They were just some high school students. Mrs. Hongyu laughed. Mira has never supported anyone like this before. Tristan grinned. If you had told me, I would have protected you too. Mira handed him a drumstick. Try this, uncle. You'll definitely like it. Arthur immediately raised his hand. Can I have one too? Mira smirked. What you're getting? I'll give it to you later. After dinner, everyone walked outside. Mira bowed politely to Mr. Joseph and Mrs. Yu. Mr. Joseph, Mrs. Yu. I'm sorry if I seemed rude earlier. Grandma smiled warmly and said, No, Mira. You're such a sweet girl. You don't need to apologize at all. If anything, we should be thanking you for everything you've done. The problem lies with our kid, not you. Mr. Joseph laughed and said, Mira, you're such a lovely girl. I wish you'd marry my son. Mrs. Yu immediately replied, Actually, I like that girl from the lecture more. Meanwhile, Arthur and Mira both blushed in embarrassment. Mrs. Hongyu then said, Mira, why are you still standing there? Go give Arthur the invitation. Mira handed Arthur a card and said, Don't forget to come. Arthur looked at the card and thought, So this is an invitation to Mira's birthday party. Then he smiled. Don't worry, Mira. I definitely won't miss your birthday. The scene shifted, and Arthur was now talking with Miss Sue. Miss Sue smiled and said, I never thought you'd give me a gift, Arthur. Arthur replied, You've helped me a lot recently, especially with the basketball team incident. Miss Sue nodded. Mira's birthday party is next month. Are you prepared for it? Arthur answered confidently. Of course. I've already bought her a gift. Miss Sue shook her head. I'm not talking about the gift. It seems you have no idea what's really going to happen at that party. Then she began explaining. As you know, there are 4 great oceans in this world, and the dragons of every ocean are considered extremely powerful. Among them, the East Ocean Dragon tribe was once the strongest. However, the East Ocean Dragons became deeply involved in human affairs, and their younger generation has grown much weaker. You can see that even Mira's cultivation level is relatively low. Meanwhile, the West Ocean tribe has become increasingly powerful. Their crown prince, Zhang Yitao, is the strongest among the younger generation. Because of his strength, he has challenged the East Ocean tribe many times. You could say the East and West Ocean tribes don't get along at all. Arthur frowned. But when I visited Atlantis, I saw the West Ocean tribes sending many gifts to the East Ocean tribe. If they're enemies, why would they do that? Miss Sue laughed. You're really naive. The answer is simple. Zhang Yitao wants to marry Mira. Arthur was stunned. What? Why? Miss Sue continued. Mira is the sole heir of the East Ocean tribe. If Zhang Yitao marries her, he'll gain control of both the West Ocean and the East Ocean. Arthur immediately asked, but Andrew Tate already knows about their scheme, doesn't he? Miss Sue nodded. Yes, he does. But what can he really do? Zhang Yitao has openly declared that he wants to marry Mira. Because of that, none of the other dragon princes dare compete for her hand. The East Ocean tribe isn't powerful enough anymore to directly oppose the West Ocean tribe. Then Miss Su pointed at Arthur. And that's where you come into the story. You're a human who accidentally consumed Mira's dragon core. You're also already engaged to her. That makes you the #1 target of the West Ocean tribe. At Mira's birthday party, not only the West Ocean tribe, but every dragon tribe will target you. They'll pressure everyone into approving a marriage between Mira and Zhang Yitao. They've probably already convinced many elders to support them. Arthur's expression darkened. So what? They'll use force and take Mira away? Miss Su answered seriously. Yes, they can. And they'll have the perfect excuse. Your weakness. If the Princess of the East Ocean marries a human who can't even cultivate properly, no dragon tribe will ever accept it. It doesn't matter whether it's the West Ocean tribe or any other tribe. Arthur clenched his fists. So because of me, Mira is in danger too. Miss Su nodded. You must break through and reach the Kang realm. You need to become a true cultivator. Otherwise, both you and Mira will be ruined. Arthur replied, but I've already broken through to the 3rd level. I've even mastered the Spirit Concentration Scroll. Miss Su shook her head. For some reason, even though you've reached the 3rd level, you still haven't entered the Kang realm. Arthur's eyes became determined. I'll find a way to break through. I won't let anyone hurt Mira. Later, while Arthur was walking across campus, Lin Lei suddenly ran over. Arthur, a couple of beautiful girls have been looking for you all over campus. You should go see them. Before Arthur could react, Lily and Leisha suddenly appeared and grabbed him. Arthur struggled. What are you two doing? Let me go. Lily pouted. It wasn't easy finding you. You're not getting away this time. Leisha smiled. Arthur, you're our savior. We want to serve you. Arthur quickly freed himself and ran away. After reaching another part of campus, he sighed in relief. I've finally gotten far enough away. It'll take them some time to find me. Just then, a girl walked up to him. Oh, so you're the one who sent me that letter and asked me to come here. To be honest, that love letter was incredibly old-fashioned. The girl was Lin Wan, a wealthy and arrogant student who considered herself the campus beauty. She came from one of the richest families in the city, second only to Andrew Tate's family. Arthur sighed internally. I was trying to avoid trouble, but somehow I found even more. Lin Wan flipped her hair proudly. I know my beauty makes it impossible for boys to resist me. Sometimes I even look in the mirror and wonder if I have the right to be this beautiful. But a girl as gorgeous as me was never meant for someone like you. Arthur thought, I know at least 4 girls prettier than you. Lin Wan continued. The person I like is someone truly amazing. Huang, the star player of the basketball team. He's tall, handsome, popular, and most importantly, worthy of being with me. At that moment, one of her followers whispered, Boss, that's Arthur. The same guy who beat Huang in the race. Lin Wan smirked. I know. You probably keep comparing yourself to Huang because you have a crush on me. But before you start dreaming, try looking in a mirror. You're far out of your league. Suddenly, Lily and Leisha came running over and jumped onto Arthur. Leisha smiled brightly. Finally, we found you. Lin Wan froze in shock. Where did these angel-like girls come from? Lily hugged Arthur tightly. Now you can't run away again, Leisha asked worriedly. You didn't get hurt when you fell, did you? Lin Wan and the other girls felt completely ignored. Finally, Lin Wan asked, Who exactly are you two? Lily and Leisha proudly answered, We're Arthur's personal maids. The girls were stunned. Such beautiful maids. Feeling defeated, Lin Wan turned around and left. Arthur sighed. I already told you to. You don't have to think of yourselves as maids anymore. You're free now. You don't need to serve anyone. Lily and Leisha shook their heads. Arthur, please let us stay by your side. We can help you cultivate. Then they handed him a lightning cultivation technique. Arthur examined it and said, This lightning cultivation art looks incredible. Lily hesitated. Arthur, I'm afraid you won't be able to cultivate it. Arthur looked devastated. Why? What's wrong with me? Lily explained. A person is only considered a true cultivator after reaching the Kang realm. That's why you first need a basic cultivation technique. Leisha added, Whatever technique you choose must match your physical attribute. Lily asked, Do you know what a physical attribute is? Arthur nodded. I know Miss Su has a metal, water, body attribute, but I have no idea what my own attribute is, Lily explained. The concentration scroll strengthens your meridians and physique, but it has nothing to do with your elemental attribute. However, attributes become extremely important when trying to reach the Kang realm. The 2 girls then examined Arthur's body. After a while, Lily said, Your body is a chaotic 5-element body. The lightning cultivation technique is incredibly effective for people with ordinary 5-element bodies. It can make their physical bodies extraordinarily powerful. Arthur smiled. I also have a 5-element body. That sounds perfect for me. Leisha quickly shook her head. No, you're misunderstanding. A 5-element body and a chaotic 5-element body are completely different. In a normal 5-element body, all 5 elements exist separately and grow together like 5 pillars. When one element improves, the other 4 improve as well. That's why it's considered one of the strongest physiques. But a chaotic 5-element body is different. The 5 elements are mixed together in a chaotic state. Separating them is extremely difficult. Most cultivators struggle to cultivate with such a physique. Arthur nodded. I understand now. Lisha smiled. There's one advantage. You can cultivate almost any type of cultivation method. In my opinion, water cultivation would suit you best, Lily agreed. It's powerful in both offense and defense. Arthur asked, what about 5-element cultivation techniques? What makes them special? Lisha explained. They're extremely stable and durable. All 5 elements grow evenly. However, you'll need to work much harder than normal cultivators. Very few people can successfully cultivate all 5 elements. But if you succeed, very few people in the world will be able to rival you. Arthur's eyes lit up. This technique sounds incredibly powerful. And honestly, it sounds fun too. The best part is how strong it is. I'll choose the 5-element technique. Mira and I have completely different physical attributes. In the future, I'll need to transfer my spiritual energy into her body. If I only cultivate one element, it could cause problems for her. But if I cultivate all 5 elements, there won't be any compatibility issues. Lisha nodded. In that case, lightning cultivation is perfect for you. Arthur smiled. So I can start practicing now, right? Lily and Lisha bowed. Yes, master, you may begin cultivating it. Arthur immediately protested. You don't need to be so formal. 3 days later, Arthur collapsed onto his bed. I'm exhausted. At that moment, he heard noises coming from the bathroom. When he opened the door, he found Lily and Lisha taking a shower. Arthur's eyes widened. What are you two doing here? I gave both of you separate rooms. Before he could finish speaking, the 2 girls jumped on him. Afterward, Arthur returned to his room. As he cultivated, he thought to himself, I never expected this technique to be so difficult to cultivate. If I keep progressing at this speed, it will take my entire life to reach the Kang realm. Just then, someone knocked on the door. Lisha and Lily entered and said, We've figured out how to cultivate the lightning technique. Arthur immediately asked, What did you discover? The 2 girls exchanged glances. Please wait a moment, master. We need to make some preparations first. A few moments later, they returned wearing professor-like outfits. Arthur sighed. Why are you two so obsessed with changing clothes? You could have just explained the cultivation method normally. They both bowed apologetically. Forgive us, master. Arthur waved his hand. All right, go ahead and start the lesson. Lily began explaining. The lightning cultivation technique consists of 7 major realms, ranked from low to high. They are Tianshu, Tianju, Tianji, Tianquan, Yuheng, Kaiyan, and Yaoguang. Each realm is further divided into 9 stages. To master this technique, all 5 elements inside your body must be cultivated equally and brought to the same level. Lisha continued. When the 5 pure elements merge perfectly, they transform into lightning. Arthur looked interested. Explain lightning cultivation in more detail. Lisha nodded. All cultivators fear heavenly tribulations. But very few people know the real reason why. Lightning is actually a fusion of all 5 elements. Most cultivators only possess 1 or 2 elemental affinities. That's why they can't withstand the power of heavenly lightning and often fail when trying to break through to higher realms. Arthur's eyes widened. So you're saying a lightning cultivator is practically invincible? If heavenly tribulations can't threaten them, then they can continue advancing indefinitely. Lisha smiled. That's correct. The power of lightning cultivators is terrifying. But cultivating all 5 elements equally requires an enormous amount of effort. That's why there are so few lightning cultivators in the world. If you want to reach the Kang realm, you must first reach the first stage of the Tianquan realm. Only then will you be able to break through. Lily and Lisha then examined Arthur's body. After checking his elemental balance, they reported, Your metal element is at the 7th stage. Your wood element is at the 9th stage. Your water element is at the 3rd stage of Tianju. Your fire element is at the 9th stage. And your earth element is at the 6th stage. Lisha explained, You've been focusing almost entirely on water cultivation. That's why your water element has become much stronger than the others. The 5 elements inside your body are severely unbalanced. We'll do our best to help balance them. Without warning, the twins pushed Arthur onto the bed. Arthur was startled. What exactly are you trying to do? The twins answered in unison. We're helping you, that's all. Then, they opened his shirt and began channeling their spiritual energy into his body. A short while later, the 5 elements inside Arthur finally began reaching the same level. Lily cheered happily. We did it! All 5 of your elements have now reached the 9th stage of the same realm. Arthur could feel the difference immediately. It feels like my entire body has changed. I think I'm about to break through. Lisha quickly stopped him. Not yet. Your cultivation foundation is still unstable. Breaking through now would be extremely dangerous. Arthur shook his head. I don't care. I've learned something far more important. The scene then shifted to Mira's birthday celebration in Atlantis. The entire city was celebrating. Mermaids sang beautiful songs, while guests filled the royal palace. Andrew Tate raised his glass and announced, "Thank you all for attending my niece's birthday celebration." Mrs. Hong Yi smiled and added, "Please ignore his nonsense. Thank you all for coming." Many guests looked toward Arthur and whispered, "So that's the future son-in-law. He looks like a nice kid." A while later, someone said to Arthur, "You've probably gotten tired from all the compliments. Mira has been getting ready for quite some time. Why don't you go see what she's doing?" Arthur nodded. "All right, I'll go." As he walked through the corridor, he thought, "I haven't seen Mira since the family gathering. I wonder if she's still angry with me." Inside her room, Myra was arguing with the attendants. "I don't want makeup. I hate wearing makeup." At that moment, Arthur entered and couldn't help staring at her. Mira immediately frowned. "Stop staring. You're an idiot." Arthur smiled. "No, you really do look beautiful today." Mira turned away, slightly embarrassed. "Don't get the wrong idea. I didn't wear this dress for you. I wore it for my family." Gathering his courage, Arthur said, "I brought you a birthday gift." Mira accepted the box. "Let me tell you in advance, cheap gifts don't impress me." Arthur scratched his head awkwardly. "It's not anything valuable, and honestly, I don't even know if you'll like it, but I hope it makes you happy." When Mira opened the box and saw the teddy bear, she immediately said, "I'm not a little kid. I don't play with teddy bears." Yet she quickly picked it up and hugged it. "What a cute teddy bear." Arthur laughed. "If you don't like it, I'll return it and buy something else." Mira immediately held it tighter. "You already gave it to me. That means it's mine now." Arthur thought, "This girl is really strange." After a moment, Arthur spoke again. "The last time you saw me with those twin girls, you seemed really angry. I don't think I did anything wrong, but I'm sorry if I upset you." Mira looked at him suspiciously. "So that's why you gave me this gift?" Arthur shook his head. "No, that's not it. Technically speaking, you're my fiancé. I was supposed to give you a gift anyway, but those girls were getting really close to me. I thought it might have bothered you." Mira blushed. "Why would I care who you're close to?" Then she quietly added, "Just don't leave me." Arthur blinked. "What did you just say?" Mira immediately looked away. "Nothing. You're just an idiot. Come on. Everyone is waiting for us." Soon they arrived at the royal court. The guests couldn't stop admiring Mira. "The princess is absolutely beautiful." The young women whispered among themselves. "So that's the princess's fiancé? He's pretty handsome too." Suddenly an announcement echoed through the hall. "The crown prince of the West Ocean and the West Ocean Dragon King have arrived." Arthur narrowed his eyes. "The real show is about to begin," the host loudly announced. "The West Ocean Dragon King presents 10 pieces of purple coral, 10 pieces of West Ocean ice, and 10 pieces of young jade as gifts." The crowd gasped. "The West Ocean Dragon King is incredibly generous. West Ocean ice alone is priceless. It can help 7th realm cultivators break through." A girl nearby whispered, "This is obviously because the crown prince wants to marry Princess Mira." Andrew Tate smiled politely. "Lord Zhang, you're too generous." The Dragon King Zhang laughed. "We'll soon be family. There's no need to be so formal." He then approached Mira. "The older you become, the more beautiful you are. What do you think about becoming my daughter-in-law?" Mira answered without hesitation, "No, I have no intention of becoming your daughter-in-law." Andrew Tate quietly muttered, "I should probably make an announcement. No father wants to watch his daughter get bullied." At that moment, Arthur stepped forward and stood beside Mira. Mrs. Hong Yu said firmly, "Lord Zhang, forgive us, but our daughter is already engaged." Dragon King Zhang frowned. "Already engaged? To this human? Mira deserves far better. My grandson, Zhang Yitao, has already reached the 3rd realm." The crowd erupted. "He might be the youngest cultivator to ever reach the 3rd realm. His metal element talent is extraordinary." Zhang Yitao smiled modestly. "Thank you for your praise, but I still have a long way to go." Then he turned toward the crowd. "As everyone knows, Mira is the only princess of the East Ocean tribe. That means the throne remains vacant. Can the future ruler of the East Ocean really be a human? What do you all think?" Then he picked up the teddy bear Arthur had given Mira. "Is this the cheap gift he gave you?" Mira immediately replied, "What does that have to do with you? Give it back." Instead, Zhang Yitao tossed the teddy bear aside and placed a bracelet on Mira's wrist. "This magical treasure suits you much better." Before he could do anything else, Arthur grabbed his arm. "Mira already told you to stop." Zhang Yitao pulled his hand free. Mira immediately removed the bracelet and threw it away. "Nothing is more important to me than that teddy bear. Even if you gave me a mountain of gold, I still wouldn't accept it." Anger exploded from Zhang Yitao's body. "How dare you say that?" Arthur stepped forward. "If you have a problem, talk to me." Zhang Yitao sneered. "So you want to play the hero? Fine, let's settle this properly. Fight me. If you win, I'll give up on this marriage proposal." Arthur answered immediately. "Deal." Mira panicked. "Arthur, don't. He's in the 3rd realm. He'll kill you." Arthur smiled reassuringly. "Don't worry. I'll protect both you and the East Ocean." Zhang Yitao folded his arms. I'm not so shameless that I'd fight a human with my full strength. I'll suppress my cultivation to the first realm. That way it'll be a fair fight. Mira protested. Arthur hasn't even reached the first realm yet. That's still bullying. Zhang Yitao laughed. He's so weak that I can't possibly lower myself any further. Arthur stepped into the arena. Then let's see who's really weak. The battle began. Arthur charged forward first. Zhang Yitao smirked. So you actually have the courage to attack first? Fine. Take this. A barrage of attacks struck Arthur, leaving several wounds across his body. Zhang Yitao mocked him. Great hero. What's wrong? Why are you running from my attacks now? Arthur gritted his teeth. Even though he's suppressing his cultivation, his combat ability is still far beyond mine. Moments later, Zhang Yitao cornered him against the edge of the arena. A cruel smile appeared on his face. Now where are you gonna run? You've got nowhere left to escape. Arthur thought to himself. He has converted his metal energy into sword-like attacks. My water element isn't strong enough to compete against him. But I can't just sit here and wait to lose. Arthur immediately fired a water bullet toward Yitao. Yitao smirked. With your level of cultivation, you'll never defeat me. He launched another attack, leaving a deep cut across Arthur's cheek. Yitao sneered. I'm giving you a chance. Admit defeat and leave. Humans have no place standing against dragons. Arthur clenched his fists. I'll have to try that technique. Yitao laughed. Your attacks can't do anything to me. My barrier has 5 layers. You won't even break the first one. Arthur fired another water bullet. To Yitao's shock, the attack shattered his barrier instantly. A powerful electric shock surged through his body, sending him flying backward and crashing into a pillar. Yitao stared in disbelief. Impossible! Water element energy can't be this powerful, Arthur replied calmly. Maybe water element energy can't, but lightning element energy can. Yitao shouted. Stop talking nonsense. How could you possibly possess lightning power? Arthur answered. Lightning is the perfect fusion of all 5 elements. As he spoke, he unleashed a lightning slash. The attack struck Yitao directly, forcing him down onto one knee. Yitao's expression darkened. I never thought you could become this powerful. It looks like I'll have to use my true strength. He activated his metal element and formed a gigantic metallic bird. Yitao grinned. Let's see whether your lightning energy can defeat this. Arthur frowned. So he can create a metal beast using spiritual energy. Fine, I'll cut it apart. As the metal bird charged toward him, Arthur sliced it in half. However, the split bird immediately transformed into 2 separate birds. Arthur was stunned. It split into 2? What am I supposed to do now? Using lightning energy continuously is putting too much strain on my body. I won't be able to keep this up for long. Seeing Arthur struggling, Yitao mocked him. Why are you running? Don't you have the courage to fight me head-on? Suddenly, an attack struck Yitao from the side. He blocked it with his arm. Arthur smiled. Don't celebrate too early. Meanwhile, Yitao was secretly shocked. How is he using all 5 elements simultaneously? This power is incredible. A moment later, one of Arthur's attacks cut Yitao's arm. Yitao snorted. These pathetic attacks won't stop me. At the same time, Yitao's attacks had already pushed Arthur to his limits. Arthur realized, other than lightning, none of my attacks are effective against him, and avoiding his attacks is becoming harder and harder. At that moment, Arthur remembered what Li She and Lily had taught him. All 5 elements must remain balanced. The power of the 5 elements is connected. One element cannot exist without the others. Arthur smiled confidently. Now you'll witness my true power. He immediately created a massive wooden cage around Yitao. Yitao laughed. Even a beginner knows metal completely counters wood. Fine. To make you happy, I'll take this attack head on. Suddenly, the wooden cage burst into flames. Yitao's eyes widened. What is happening? The burning vines wrapped around him and began restraining him. Arthur explained. You're a dragon, so you've probably never studied science. Energy can be transformed into different forms. Energy never truly disappears. Arthur coughed up blood. I've already consumed too much energy. I need to finish this quickly. If I drag this out any longer, I won't survive. He rushed forward to deliver the final blow. A massive explosion erupted across the arena. However, when the smoke cleared, Yitao was completely unharmed. He had transformed into his dragon form. Yitao laughed proudly. No matter how many tricks you use, you're still just a human. Compared to a dragon's true power, your human body is worthless. Arthur stared at the dragon form. So this is a dragon's body. Yitao suddenly rushed forward and grabbed Arthur. He said arrogantly, a dragon's scales are natural armor, and our claws are sharper than any sword. As he spoke, he stabbed his claws into Arthur's body. We dragons are born strong. We are born to cultivate. Do you understand now, weak human? He then threw Arthur into a pillar. Tears filled Mira's eyes. Arthur, surrender. You can't win. Yitao looked down at him. I'm sparing your life. Leave Atlantis right now. Arthur forced himself back to his feet. You haven't won, and I haven't lost. So this fight isn't over. Yitao's face turned cold. I already showed you mercy once. I won't do it again. He unleashed his dragon roar. The devastating attack heavily injured Arthur, yet Arthur still charged forward. "This isn't over yet." Yi Tao laughed. "You're so weak now that you can't even aim properly." Then he suddenly noticed something strange. A formation had appeared around him. Arthur grinned. "Now you're trapped. You've fallen into my trap." Yi Tao struggled in shock. "What is this? Why can't I get out? You deliberately distracted me so you could trap me inside this formation." Arthur shrugged. "Everything is fair in battle. You claimed you'd fight at the first realm, yet you still used your strongest form. So why can't I use a few tricks? I worked very hard to learn this formation from Lily and Lisha." Yi Tao shouted, "What exactly are you trying to do?" Mira finally let out a sigh of relief. "Arthur, you scared me." Arthur smiled at her. "I told you. I'll protect you in Atlantis, and I'll always keep that promise." Dragon King Zong stood up angrily. "You trapped my grandson. I declare this fight a draw." Andrew Tate immediately interrupted. "A true Sigma male never interferes in a fight between children. Besides, Arthur has been fighting someone far stronger than himself. You didn't stop the battle when he was getting beaten, so let the fight continue." Arthur laughed. "You've only seen the trailer. The movie hasn't even started yet." Yi Tao sneered. "There's barely any spiritual energy left in your body. What can you possibly do now?" Arthur replied. "You'll find out soon enough." Inside, he thought, "Finally, now I can use that technique." The Dragon King suddenly narrowed his eyes. Why is his energy increasing? Even Yi Tao was confused. "Your spiritual energy was exhausted. Where did all this power come from?" Arthur smiled. "You're a third realm cultivator, right? Then I'll use a third realm technique to teach you a lesson." Yi Tao laughed. "Someone who hasn't even reached the first realm wants to use a third realm attack? Impossible." The next moment, a terrifying attack descended upon him. Just as it was about to land, Dragon King Zhang intervened and sent his dragon to rescue Yi Tao. The Dragon King shouted, "Yi Tao, get up. Are you all right?" Andrew Tate immediately scoffed. "Mr. Zhang, you just interfered in a fight between children. That proves you're not a Sigma male. You're not even worthy of being called a man." Dragon King Zhang clenched his teeth. "Fine, we admit defeat." Tristan Tate smirked. "Admitting defeat isn't enough. Have you forgotten your promise?" Dragon King Zhang sighed. "Fine. I withdraw the marriage proposal, and we'll leave for now." Arthur finally relaxed. "It's over." Just as he was about to lose consciousness, Mira rushed forward and caught him. Tears streamed down her face. "Why did you fight such a dangerous battle?" Arthur weakly replied, "Don't hit me. It really hurts." Then he fainted in her arms. Mira panicked. "Quick, someone bring medicine." Mrs. Hongyu fed Arthur medicine and said, "If it weren't for Arthur, a major disaster would have happened today." Dragon King Andrew nodded. "I never imagined he could use a third realm technique while still being below the first realm." Tristan frowned. "The fact that he became this weak afterward means he used his life force in exchange for spiritual energy." Mira looked at him desperately. "Uncle Tristan, what should we do? Please save Arthur." Watching from nearby, Lei Rui said, "Arthur, you really outdid yourself today." At that moment, Lily and Lisha finally arrived. "Everyone, please step aside. We're the only ones who can heal him." Arthur weakly smiled. "Finally, you two showed up. For a moment, I thought you'd arrive after I was already dead." Lily scolded him. "You used a technique far above your level. Were you trying to get yourself killed?" Lisha added, "Your spiritual energy is completely out of control. If we had arrived any later, every meridian in your body would have shattered." Mira looked shocked. "How did this happen?" Arthur replied, "It's nothing. I just used a little trick." Lily immediately snapped. "A little trick? You gambled with your life." Mira turned pale. "Are they telling the truth?" Tristan asked seriously. "Tell us honestly. Did you use some kind of forbidden spell during the fight?" Arthur shook his head. "No, I didn't use any forbidden spell. I was only able to use that move because I discovered a major secret of lightning cultivation. According to the technique, different elements can be fused into cultivation, and I can channel elemental power directly into my attacks. Most cultivators focus only on their cultivation level and completely ignore the elements themselves. But I've been focusing on mastering the elements." Mira asked, "But your body has a chaotic elemental physique, and all the elements inside you are mixed together in a strange way. How were you able to use the power of all 5 elements at the same time?" At that moment, Tristan Tate finally understood what Arthur had done. He laughed and said, "Kid, you're much smarter than I thought." Mira looked confused. "What happened? Why is Uncle Tristan laughing?" Arthur explained, "Uncle Tristan possesses an enormous amount of energy. During the fight, I secretly borrowed a small portion of it. I did it so carefully that even he didn't notice." Tristan chuckled. "I did feel someone drawing energy from me, but I couldn't figure out who it was. Regardless, thank you, kid. You did an incredible job today." Suddenly, Lei Rui dropped to his knees. "Arthur, I owe you an apology. I always thought you were just a mortal who couldn't accomplish anything. I believed you weren't worthy of Miss Mira. To break off your engagement with the princess, I deliberately gave you an incomplete cultivation scroll." Arthur finally understood. "So that's why I had so many problems when I first started cultivating." If Mira hadn't personally taught me, I might never have become a cultivator at all. Hearing this, Tristan exploded with anger and prepared to strike Lei Rui. How dare you do something like that? I'll kill you right here. Before he could attack, Arthur stepped forward and grabbed his arm. Then he lightly kicked Lei Rui away. Everyone was shocked. What is happening? Arthur looked at Lei Rui and said, we're even now. All the grudges between us are gone. Then he turned toward Tristan. Uncle Tristan, please forgive him. Everything he did was for the princess and for your family. Please spare his life. Tristan sighed. If you're asking for mercy, then I'll let him go. Lei Rui bowed deeply. Arthur, thank you for saving my life. If I ever get the chance, I'll definitely repay this favor. A few days later, Arthur took a leave of absence from school to recover from his injuries. During that time, he barely spoke to anyone. However, Lily and Leisha took excellent care of him. Lily held out an apple. You need to eat more apples if you want to recover quickly. Leisha smiled. Open your mouth, I'll feed you these blueberries myself. Arthur sighed. These two are making my life impossible. After recovering, Arthur finally returned to school. Gia greeted him. You took quite a long break this time. Are you feeling better now? Arthur nodded. Yeah, I feel much better than before. Gia smiled. That's good. Oh, by the way, my brother gave an order. Next week, you'll be participating in the basketball match against Jingui University. Arthur blinked. Wait, I'm playing? Gia nodded. They've been our rivals for years. Crushing them is very important for us. Arthur laughed. Why should I be worried? You're my trainer, so we'll definitely beat them. Gia stared at him for a moment before smiling. Seeing you talk so confidently reminds me of someone. Arthur asked curiously. Who are you talking about? Gia replied. A senior brother from my childhood. I spent a lot of time with him when I was young. Arthur thought, what senior brother is she talking about now? He asked. Were you very close to him? Gia nodded. Yes, we spent a lot of time together. He was always very gentle with me. I was pretty stupid when I was little and never knew what I was doing, but he never complained about it. Arthur hesitated. Do you have feelings for him? Gia looked away. I lost contact with him a long time ago, so talking about it doesn't really matter now. But I can honestly say that the reason I study so hard and train so much is because he told me to. Arthur silently thought, so Gia already has feelings for someone else. Later, someone knocked on Arthur's door. Lily and Leisha entered. Your parents are here. Arthur was surprised. Mom and Dad are back? His parents immediately greeted him. Arthur, we're finally back. Ignoring their excitement, Arthur replied, Okay, I'm going back to my room. Mr. Joseph quickly stopped him. Why don't you sit and talk with us for a while? It's been a long time since we've seen each other. Arthur pushed his hand away and asked, So what are your plans this time? Are you only staying for a day? Or are you leaving in an hour again? Mrs. Yu shook her head. No, we'll be staying for quite a while. We want to spend more time with you and your grandmother. Mr. Joseph added, We were only able to come back because of Mr. G. He helped arrange our transfer. Arthur frowned. Mr. G? Which Mr. G are you talking about? Mrs. Yu smiled. Don't you remember? When you were little, you loved visiting his house. He had a daughter your age. The two of you used to play together all the time. Mr. Joseph laughed. One day, as a joke, we even said we'd arrange a marriage between you and Mr. G's daughter. Arthur suddenly remembered. Oh, right. I used to call her Little Carrot. Anyway, I'm going to my room. I still have homework to finish, and I have school tomorrow. The next day at school, Lily said, You must be tired from studying. Let us give you a massage. Arthur looked around in embarrassment. What are you doing? This is my classroom, Lily replied. We're the vice principal's granddaughters. That's why we're allowed to attend school here too. The students nearby whispered among themselves. Arthur must have some kind of special charm. Why are so many girls always around him? Even the vice principal's granddaughters are giving him massages. And he's always hanging out with Gia too. She's gorgeous as well. At that moment, Gia entered the classroom. The moment she saw Lily and Leisha surrounding Arthur, she became visibly annoyed. This is a classroom. If you're not students in this class, you shouldn't be here. Lily smiled. Who said we're not students? You can check our student cards. Gia looked at the cards. Even so, you don't belong to this department. Lily shrugged. So what? Is there a rule saying we can't sit in another class? Gia replied. No, but you can't disturb the other students. Lily smirked. It feels like we're not disturbing the other students. It feels like we're disturbing you. Gia stepped back and said coldly, You're being very rude. Just because you're the vice principal's granddaughters doesn't mean you can do whatever you want. Lily giggled. Look at her. She's so angry. Arthur immediately realized things were getting out of hand. Enough! Lily, what are you doing? Both of you, go back to your own class. Lily nodded. Fine, we're leaving. Arthur turned toward Gia. Gia, listen to me. But Gia interrupted him. Class is starting. We can talk after school. That evening, Arthur and Gia met again. At the exact same time, both of them said, I wanted to talk to you about something. Arthur smiled. You go first. Gia took a deep breath. I think we should keep some distance between us. Arthur looked confused. Why? I didn't do anything wrong this morning. Gia shook her head. This isn't about this morning. Rumors have spread throughout the school. People think we're dating. Arthur shrugged. So what? We're not actually dating. Gia lowered her eyes. The rumors don't bother me either. But today, while I was talking about that senior brother from my childhood, I started thinking, if he went around school spending time with lots of girls, how would I feel? That's when I realized I shouldn't be doing the same thing. Arthur stared at her. So everything you're doing is because of that senior brother? Gia nodded softly. Yes. I'm doing it all for him. I want to remain his little carrot forever. Arthur froze in shock. Little carrot? The scene then shifted to the day of the basketball competition. Arthur was playing exceptionally well on the court, while his family cheered for him from the stands. Arthur thought, why is my whole family here? And Gia still hasn't arrived yet. Yesterday, she told me that she's little carrot. That means the brother she's been talking about all this time is actually me. Arthur recalled how Gia once told him that she wanted to marry her childhood senior brother when she grew up. He thought, how am I supposed to tell her that I'm the person she's talking about? If I tell her now, she'll probably think I'm taking advantage of the situation. For now, it's better to keep quiet. Back in his memories, Gia's words echoed again. That's why we need to keep a little distance. Returning to the present, Arthur sighed. There's nothing I can do about it right now. At that moment, Lily approached and handed him a towel. Master, please wipe off your sweat. Arthur looked at her. Lily, why are you here? She smiled. You had a match today, so we came to support you. What happened yesterday was our fault. We'll make sure it never happens again. Arthur shook his head. No, it was my fault. I didn't teach you properly. Let's forget about it and move on. It won't happen again. Lily immediately hugged him. That's great. I was worried you didn't need us anymore. Just then, Mira arrived. Why are there always girls around you? Arthur looked surprised. What are you doing here? Mira crossed her arms. Miss Sue invited me, but judging from your reaction, maybe I shouldn't have come. Miss Sue laughed. This is Arthur's first basketball match. I thought it would be nice if you came to support him. Mira turned to Arthur. I came to watch your game. If you lose today, you're finished. Then she looked around. Where's Gia? Hasn't she arrived yet? At that moment, Gia entered the gym. Sorry, I'm late. The moment Arthur and Gia saw each other, neither of them said a word. Mira narrowed her eyes. Something is definitely wrong between those two. Meanwhile, Mr. Joseph looked at Gia carefully. I feel like I've seen that girl somewhere before. Mrs. Yu replied. Isn't she the girl who attended the lecture with Arthur? Honestly, I really like her. She's adorable. Mr. Joseph frowned. No, I remember seeing her long before that. Suddenly his eyes widened. I remember now. He walked over to your name is Gia, right? Gia looked surprised. Mr. Joseph? What are you doing here? And how do you know my name? Mr. Joseph smiled. Don't you remember? When you were little, we were neighbors. Gia's eyes widened. Then your senior brother's father. Mira immediately asked. Mr. Joseph, do you know Gia? He nodded. I used to work with her father. Our homes were right next to each other. When Arthur and Gia were children, they spent all their time together. They liked each other very much. I even joked once that we should arrange a marriage between them. Mira's expression instantly darkened. A marriage? Gia finally realized something. Wait, Arthur is your son? She immediately remembered everything she had told Arthur the previous day about little Carrot. Her face turned red. I can't believe I said all of that in front of Arthur. Arthur smiled. So yesterday, I was just trying to confirm whether or not you were little Carrot. Gia panicked. Forget everything I said yesterday. I was only joking. Mr. Joseph laughed loudly. Arthur, your taste is incredible. You already found such a wonderful girlfriend at this age. Gia remembered a childhood promise. Senior brother, you're amazing. I always want to stay with you. Arthur had replied back then. Then you'll have to become my bride. And Gia had happily agreed. Thinking about it now, Gia wondered, does Arthur still remember that promise? Mira glanced at Arthur. You seem awfully happy about Gia becoming your bride. Arthur quickly replied, those were just things we said when we were kids. Mira folded her arms. Maybe, but you've known each other since childhood. Gia silently thought. It's obvious from Mira's face that she likes Arthur too. Just then, an announcement echoed throughout the arena. The basketball match will begin shortly. All players, please get ready. Arthur stood up. All right, I'm heading to the court. Gia smiled. Play well. Mira and I will be cheering for you. As soon as the match began, Jingui University quickly took the lead. The score reached 12-2 in their favor. The audience started murmuring. East Ocean University had a terrible start. It's going to be very difficult for them to win now. When Huang pushed forward with the ball, an opponent immediately blocked him. Every East Ocean player was being tightly guarded. The crowd commented, Jingui University's defense is incredible. They're not giving their opponents any room to move. At that moment, Arthur broke free from his defender and sprinted forward. Huang, pass me the ball. I can get past them. However, Huang deliberately threw the ball in another direction, and Jingui University immediately stole possession. The audience noticed. Arthur is the newcomer on the team. He's created several scoring opportunities already, but his teammates keep refusing to pass him the ball. I don't know what problem they have with him. Even Coach Wenzu finally called a timeout. Arthur thought, the game has only just started, and the score gap is already huge. If this continues, we'll lose very quickly. Huang clenched his fists. I'm East Ocean University's ace player. I won't let things end like this. Arthur grabbed him by the shoulder. I'm not here to compete against you. I'm here to win. So cooperate with me. Huang frowned. And you think I'm not trying to win? Arthur replied. We're already far behind. We have to work together. If the team doesn't cooperate, we won't win. At that moment, Coach Wenzu walked over and smacked both of them on the head. Enough. Put your personal grudges aside. Both of you are talented players that I personally chose. Can't you at least trust my judgment? Just then, the timeout ended. Jia shouted from the stands, Arthur, you can do it. I know you'll win. Mira yelled even louder. Arthur, crush them. Miss Su smiled. You didn't care about Arthur before. Now you're paying a lot of attention to him. Mira immediately denied it. No, that's not true. I just don't want him to lose and embarrass our university. This university belongs to my father. If the university loses face, then my father loses face. And if my father loses face, then so do I. Miss Su chuckled. You should trust Arthur. He won't let us down. Back on the court, Huang drove forward with the ball again, only to be surrounded by 3 defenders. Arthur cut across the side and shouted, pass it to me. This time, Huang dodged his defenders and passed the ball. If you miss this shot, I'll never forgive you. Arthur grinned. Then he leaped unbelievably high and slammed the ball into the basket. The players from Jingui University were stunned. How can he jump that high? Arthur laughed. That was an amazing pass. Huang looked away. Don't get the wrong idea. I'm only cooperating with you because I want our school to win. Arthur smiled. Good. Then we're definitely going to win. From that moment on, Arthur and Huang worked together flawlessly, scoring point after point. By halftime, the score had completely turned around. Jingui University 31, East Ocean University 36. Arthur thought, there's still plenty of time left. At that moment, Mira and several other girls arrived to cheer for him. Lisha smiled and said, Arthur, this is the surprise we prepared for you. Arthur was shocked. What is this? Mira replied, your friends made me wear these clothes. It's so embarrassing. If you don't win this match, I won't let you off. Miss Su thought to herself, Arthur is going to have to work very hard in the future. Soon, the second half of the game began, and both teams continued scoring relentlessly. The audience commented, they were behind for the first 3 quarters, but now they're about to take the lead in the 4th quarter. Lily proudly said, I told you my leadership would be a huge help to them. Mira immediately replied, the score is only tied right now. We still haven't won yet. Meanwhile, the players from Jingui University were giving everything they had. The score stood at 56 for Jingui University and 54 for East Ocean University. One of the Jingui players laughed. Victory will belong to us. After several more intense minutes, Jingui University's score rose to 66, while East Ocean University's score reached 67. A Jingui player smiled. I have to admit you're worthy opponents, but the final victory will still belong to us. Arthur replied, stop talking nonsense. We're the ones who are going to win. The match resumed. A Jingui player broke through and scored while Arthur failed to stop him. The player smirked. I told you Jingui University would win. Arthur thought only 20 seconds remain. This final possession will decide whether we win or lose. Huang passed the ball to Arthur. I'm trusting you. Just remember, this is our last chance. Arthur caught the ball and charged forward. There's almost no time left. They're blocking every passing lane, so passing isn't an option anymore. Huang shouted, don't hesitate, just go for it. It's our last chance. The girls in the audience screamed, Arthur, you can do it. Suddenly, Arthur leaped incredibly high and launched the ball from long range. Everyone held their breath. Will it go in, or are we going to lose? Then the ball swished cleanly through the basket. Arthur scored. At the same moment, East Ocean University secured the victory. The entire arena erupted in celebration. We won! East Ocean University won! The girls cheered excitedly. Our support worked. We actually won. Meanwhile, Wenzin sent Arthur a message. Come to my house tonight? Later that night, Arthur stood outside a large residence. I can't believe Mr. G invited me to his home. He knocked on the door. Mr. G, are you home? The door opened, revealing Jia. Who's there? The moment she saw Arthur, she blushed. Arthur? What are you doing here? At that moment, Wenzun called out, let him come in. He's my guest tonight. Jia looked surprised. You didn't tell me Arthur was coming. I would have prepared something special. Arthur quickly waved his hands. No, there's no need to cook anything special for me. Wenzin laughed. We won today thanks to Arthur. So tonight, I'll be doing the cooking. You two can go relax in Jia's room while I prepare dinner. Jia immediately protested. Brother, you're seriously putting both of us in my room? Before either of them could object further, Wenzun shut the door. Arthur looked around. So this is Jia's room. At the same time, Jia panicked. What did I leave on my bed? I need to hide it immediately. She quickly said, Arthur, sit down for a moment. I'll get you some water. And sorry about the mess. My room isn't very tidy. As Arthur sat beside her desk, he noticed a photo album. Inside were countless childhood pictures of him and Gia together. Arthur smiled. So that's you and me. Gia nodded. Do you remember? When we were little, you used to draw for me all the time. Although, judging by your expression, you probably don't remember. Arthur thought, I can barely remember things from 2 days ago. How am I supposed to remember my childhood? But if I tell her that, she'll feel hurt. Gia smiled softly. It's okay if you don't remember. They were just childhood memories. Arthur lowered his head. I'm sorry. Gia quickly shook her head. No, you don't need to apologize. Arthur said. I only remembered that there was a girl called Little Carrot who followed me everywhere. But I've forgotten almost everything else. Looking through this album, it seems we shared a lot of wonderful memories. Gia looked at him warmly. You haven't changed at all. You're still as gentle and honest as you were back then. Arthur smiled awkwardly. I was older than you, so maybe that's why you admired me. Gia shook her head. No, that's not it. I knew you when we were children. But after we grew up, I had no idea you were my senior brother. Even so, I still liked you. Before Arthur could respond, Wenzin called from downstairs. Dinner's ready. Come eat. Gia stood up immediately. Let's go. I'm starving. Arthur thought, what exactly was she trying to tell me just now? After dinner, Arthur said, Mr. G, I can't believe you're such a good cook. Wenzin laughed. If you plan on being with Gia in the future, you'll need to learn how to cook too. Gia immediately blushed. Brother? What are you talking about? Wenzin grinned. Gia, you've had a crush on your senior brother since childhood. So why are you acting so awkward now that he's finally here? Gia turned red. Arthur, don't listen to his nonsense. We should get going. Later, the two walked together under the night sky. Gia smiled. Arthur, thank you. I waited so many years to see my little brother again, but I never expected that person to be you. I'm really happy. Then she hesitated before speaking again. Can I tell you a secret? If my senior brother had taken a little longer to return, I might have fallen in love with someone else. She smiled softly. Anyway, I'm heading home now. You should head back too. The next day at the university, Miss Su finished her lecture. That's all for today's class. Arthur, come with me. The students immediately started whispering. Why is she calling him again? This guy is already surrounded by beautiful girls. So why is Miss Su paying attention to him too? Soon, Arthur arrived at Miss Su's house. I didn't come here willingly. I was dragged here. And where exactly am I? Whoever owns this house must be terrible at cleaning. At that moment, Miss Su appeared. This is my house. Arthur immediately froze. Miss Su, why haven't you turned on the lights? It's so dark in here. She replied, there was a power outage. That's one of the reasons I called you. You're studying mechanical engineering, right? Consider this a test. Arthur walked over to the main switch and flipped it on. The lights instantly came back. He smiled awkwardly. Miss Su, I think you didn't notice the switch. It had been turned off. That's why your electricity wasn't working. Miss Su crossed her arms. I teach mathematics, not physics. How was I supposed to know that? And trust me, if anyone else had said that to me, I would have beaten them up already. Arthur quickly apologized. That's not what I meant, sorry. As he sat down, Arthur thought, being alone in a single woman's house feels really awkward. A few moments later, Miss Su returned after changing clothes. Would you like coffee or tea? Arthur replied. Coffee. At the same time, he thought, what exactly is she wearing? Then he said, Miss Su, you're completely different when you're alone. You never act like this in public. She smiled. Since we both know each other's secrets, there's no need for me to keep pretending. Just then, Arthur noticed a cockroach crawling near a cup. Miss Su saw it too and immediately jumped onto Arthur in fright. Miss Su, please calm down. Later, Arthur ended up cleaning her entire room. After finishing, he sighed. Finally, Miss Su, you should keep your house clean. Then you won't have cockroaches. She smiled. Thanks for cleaning. Arthur laughed. Who would have thought a cultivation genius couldn't even clean her own house? The moment he said that, Miss Su suddenly drew her sword and attacked him. Arthur jumped back. Miss Su, what are you doing? Using his special energy, he blocked her attack. Just before her strike landed, Arthur formed a protective barrier around himself. Miss Su nodded in approval. Not bad. You can already create barriers using spiritual energy. You're very close to reaching the first realm. Arthur realized something. Were you testing my cultivation? She smiled. I want to have a match with you. Arthur immediately shook his head. I'm nowhere near strong enough to fight you. Miss Su replied, I'll only defend. You have 3 minutes. If you can touch me even once with your sword within those 3 minutes, I'll admit defeat. Arthur grinned. Touching you with my sword doesn't sound that difficult. Are you underestimating me? Miss Su smiled confidently. I'm an inspector, and inspectors are extremely powerful. If you manage to defeat me, I'll give you a very special reward. Arthur thought, what kind of reward could she possibly be talking about? Miss Su stepped back. All right, let's begin. Arthur immediately unleashed attacks using all 5 elements. Miss Su calmly dodged and said, those attacks consume a tremendous amount of spiritual energy. How many times can you keep doing this? Ordinary elemental attacks won't be enough to harm me, Arthur thought. If that's the case, then I'll have to combine them. As he attacked again, he asked, "What do you think about my lightning element?" Miss Sue nodded. "It's impressive. But lightning is still created from the 5 elements, so it won't work on me either. You only have 1 minute left. Are you ready to give up?" Arthur thought. None of my 5 elements are working. Even lightning isn't enough. How am I supposed to break through Miss Sue's defense? He launched another barrage of lightning attacks at her. Miss Sue calmly replied, "You're still too weak. Even if you lose, it won't be a big deal." A cloud of smoke filled the area from Arthur's attacks. Taking advantage of the cover, he rushed forward with his lightning sword and struck at Miss Sue. She blocked the attack effortlessly. However, Arthur immediately followed up with an attack from his other hand. The surprise move slightly tore a piece of her clothing. Blushing, Miss Sue said, "You win. Even though you haven't reached the first realm yet, your combat skills are impressive." Arthur scratched his head awkwardly. "Miss Sue, I'll buy you a new dress later." She shook her head. "That's not necessary." Suddenly, the lights went out. Miss Sue's expression changed. "He's coming." Arthur frowned. "Who's coming? What's happening?" At that moment, a powerful shock ran through Arthur's body, causing him to collapse to one knee. "Miss Sue, something feels strange." "What's going on?" Miss Sue explained. "You consumed too much spiritual energy during the fight, which has activated your dragon core. We can now say that you're about to break through into the first realm. A minor heavenly tribulation will accompany the breakthrough. I'll protect you, but remember one thing. You must open it in a single attempt." Arthur looked shocked. "What do you mean by opening it in one attempt?" Miss Sue explained. "The dragon core has multiple openings. When you enter the first realm, your dragon core gains the ability to absorb surrounding energy. As you unlock more openings, you'll become significantly stronger. After unlocking all 7 openings, you'll be able to transform into a true dragon." Arthur immediately asked, "Then tell me how I can unlock them." Miss Sue replied, "You've mastered the 5-element lightning cultivation technique, and you've probably refined at least 1 cultivation scroll." Arthur nodded. "So I need to use this lightning to refine my body," Miss Sue said. "Exactly. For now, I'll guard you. Begin your cultivation." Arthur stabilized all 5 elements and entered a cultivation state. Miss Sue raised her hand. "I'll summon the lightning." As Arthur absorbed the lightning energy, he gritted his teeth. "It feels like my body is about to explode." When he closed his eyes, his consciousness entered a colorful world. Arthur thought, "So this is the dragon core inside my body." Soon, countless bolts of lightning appeared around him. "Do I need to control all of this?" While trying to control the lightning, intense pain surged through his body, but he still managed to guide the lightning into his dragon core. When Arthur finally opened his eyes in the real world, he was drenched in sweat and suffering from intense pain. Miss Sue immediately asked, "Did you succeed?" Before he could answer, another bolt of lightning descended toward them. Arthur instantly unleashed his own lightning, intercepting the attack in midair. Then he grabbed Miss Sue and jumped aside, avoiding the resulting explosion. The blast shook the surroundings, but neither of them was injured. Miss Sue smiled. "Thank you." Arthur quickly asked, "Miss Sue, are you all right?" She laughed. "I told you, I'm an inspector. Something like that can't hurt me." Then she looked at him proudly. "You successfully broke through. Congratulations. And since you defeated me earlier, it's time for me to give you your special reward." Arthur immediately waved his hands. No, there's really no need for any special reward." Miss Sue ignored him. "From today onward, you'll become my assistant inspector. In the inspector system, every inspector is allowed to have 1 assistant. I was never able to find a suitable candidate, so the position remained vacant. Only inspectors can choose their assistants, and you're the first assistant I've ever selected." Arthur looked confused. "But why me?" Miss Sue smiled. "Because you've become such a headache for me. If you don't want the position, that's fine. The choice is yours." Arthur immediately replied, No, why wouldn't I want it? I'd be honored to become your assistant." Miss Sue handed him a contract. "Then sign this. After that, you'll officially become my assistant." Later, back at the university, Lily looked shocked. "Why did you join the inspector system?" Arthur sighed. "After signing the contract, this mark appeared on my body." Lily's eyes widened. "You don't know? Assistant inspectors must pass an examination every year. And if they fail, they're executed." Arthur froze. "What? So dangerous?" Leisha nodded. "It's true. Once you become an assistant inspector, you must keep passing examinations until you officially become an inspector. You can't resign before then. And if you try to withdraw now, every inspector will consider you an enemy. They'll personally come after you." Arthur thought bitterly. Miss Sue completely tricked me. Then he asked, "How do these examinations work? And when is my first one? At my current level, do I even stand a chance?" Leisha shrugged. "The examinations are organized by random ranked inspectors. The content changes every time. They decide the rules, objectives, and challenges, so it's impossible to predict." Lily added, "It could be anything. You might even be ordered to capture a monster. The problem is that you've only recently reached the first realm. Your chances of surviving aren't very high. Just then, a luxury sports car drove into the university. The students immediately began whispering, "That's King Xiaowen, the famous painter. Why is he at our school? And look at him, he's incredibly handsome." Arthur looked puzzled. Who exactly is that guy, and why is he so popular? Miss Su explained, "That's King Xiaowen. He's Asia's #1 painter and has countless fans. But that's only his identity in the human world. Within the Dragon Tribe, he's also an inspector. He's responsible for Sky Mountain and the surrounding territories. You could call him a cultivation genius, and the examiner for your upcoming test." Arthur was surprised. "So he's here to inspect our school?" Miss Su shook her head. "No, he's been trying to court me for years, and you should be careful around him. He has eliminated every man who got too close to me. Your examination won't be easy either." Arthur thought, just hearing that makes him sound dangerous. Looks like he's completely obsessed with her. Miss Su continued, "He invited me to an exhibition 2 days ago. He even gave me 2 tickets. Since you're my bodyguard, you're coming with me." Arthur sighed. What kind of mess have I gotten myself into now? 2 days later, the exhibition began. The students were excited. "King Xiaowen, Asia's #1 painter, is holding an exhibition at our school. He's not only handsome, but incredibly talented too. Some people really get everything in life." Everyone admired his artwork. "These paintings are amazing." Miss Su nodded. "King Xiaowen is one of the greatest painters in the world. He's especially famous for his oil paintings. A few days ago, one of his works sold at auction for over $1 million. Arthur's eyes widened. $1 million? Miss Su smiled. "He's also skilled in many other artistic styles. Today's main attraction is the unveiling of his latest ink painting. It has already attracted enormous attention." At that moment, King Xiaowen approached Miss Su. "You never treat me kindly, but I know you secretly like me. If there's any painting you want, just take it. I'll give it to you for free." Miss Su replied coldly, "I only came because the school requested it. Otherwise, I wouldn't be here." King Xiaowen smiled. "You don't have to be so cold. I organized this exhibition because I wanted to show you everything I've accomplished over the past 2 years." Before he could continue, Arthur stepped forward. "Can't you see that you're making Miss Su uncomfortable by holding her hand? You should let go." King Xiaowen finally looked at Arthur. "So you're Arthur, the student from Miss Su's class." At the same time, he thought, who is this guy? Why does he keep interfering? King Xiaowen forced a smile. "My apologies, Miss Su. I got a little excited after seeing you. Feel free to enjoy the exhibition. I have some business to take care of." After he left, Miss Su sighed. "Arthur, you've just dug your own grave." Arthur looked confused. "What do you mean?" King Xiaowen is extremely arrogant. He only cares about himself. After humiliating him in front of me, he definitely won't let this go. But honestly, watching you stand up for me made me happy. You've impressed me once again." Soon, the host stepped onto the stage. "Ladies and gentlemen, welcome. We are honored to have Mr. King Xiaowen unveil his newest ink painting today. This is a rare opportunity that very few people ever get to witness." Everyone standing there was talking among themselves. "Isn't Mr. King Xiaowen famous for oil paintings?" The host smiled and replied, "Not at all. Mr. King is highly skilled in many forms of art. That's why he decided to hold this ink painting exhibition." Arthur suddenly noticed someone in the crowd. "Isn't that Mira?" Mira walked over and asked, "Arthur, what are you doing here?" Arthur replied, "Miss Su invited me." "But what about you? Why are you here?" Mira sighed. "I wasn't planning to come. My father received an invitation, but since he couldn't attend, he sent me in his place. I've been bored ever since I got here." The host then announced, "I'd like to inform everyone that Mr. King Xiaowen will create a painting live in front of all of you to demonstrate his incredible artistic skills. This is a rare opportunity, so please pay close attention." King Xiaowen began painting, and the audience watched in amazement. Some people were already bidding millions for the artwork before it was even finished. When he completed the painting, King walked over to Miss Su and handed it to her. "This painting is for you." To everyone's shock, Miss Su tore the painting apart. King Xiaowen froze. "Su-han, what are you doing? Do you have any idea how valuable that painting was? You destroyed it without hesitation." The crowd erupted. That was Mr. King's first ink painting. Miss Su replied calmly, "It was only a painting. I'll compensate you by creating one myself." Then she turned to Arthur. "Arthur, go paint one for me." Arthur almost choked. What kind of trap has she dragged me into now? The crowd immediately started whispering, "Who is this guy?" Arthur looked helpless. "Miss Su, what exactly are you trying to do? Do you want me to die here? I always ranked last in art class." The spectators were shocked. If she's that confident in him, then he must be an amazing painter. King Xiaowen smiled. "It's only a painting, no need to make such a big deal. Still, Arthur, I'd like to see your artistic skills." Arthur sighed. "Because of you, I don't have any choice left. I guess I'll have to paint." Miss Su whispered, "Relax. Just do exactly what I tell you. You'll create something good. When I call out an element, use that element. I'll also tell you the power level from 1 to 10. Follow my instructions carefully. Arthur blinked. Wait, what does that even mean? Do you want me to draw a lightning scroll or something? Miss Sue shook her head. Calm down. Focus. Remember the painting King just created. Recall every movement and gesture he used. Arthur nodded. I remember everything. Miss Sue began guiding him. Start with metal energy. As Arthur painted, the crowd gasped. The strokes are incredibly powerful. Now water, level 5. Wood, level 4. Arthur thought, I'm using the brush to convert one type of spiritual energy into another. This consumes an unbelievable amount of energy. I never thought painting could be this exhausting. After a while, he gritted his teeth. Miss Sue, I can't hold on much longer. Miss Sue immediately grabbed his arm and transferred her energy into him. With her support, Arthur continued painting. When they finally finished, Miss Sue smiled. Thank you for working so hard, Arthur. Then she looked at King. Mr. Greatest Painter, why don't you evaluate our painting? King's expression darkened. They used a lightning scroll to copy my painting. And when Arthur ran out of energy, Suhan even lent him her own. An elderly art master stepped forward to inspect the work. This painting is magnificent. There's only a tiny mistake in the way the brush was held. Other than that, it's nearly flawless. The crowd was stunned. It looks exactly like Mr. King's painting. King forced a smile. You're right. In fact, his version is even better than mine. The audience exploded into discussion. Who exactly is Arthur? He painted something even better than King Xiaowen. Miss Sue handed the painting to Arthur. This is for you. Meanwhile, King Xiaowen walked away with a dark expression. Suhan, Arthur, I'll make both of you pay for this. After the exhibition, Arthur focused entirely on his cultivation. He practiced controlling all 5 elements and firing them freely. Arthur thought, Miss Sue's technique is incredible. I can now switch between all 5 elements at will. And with the lightning scroll, everything has become even easier. Suddenly, snow began falling. A violent gust of wind swept Arthur away. He frowned. Why is it snowing in the middle of summer? What's going on? The next moment, he found himself standing in a frozen world. Where am I? I was at school just a moment ago. Did cultivation somehow bring me to another world? I worked so hard adapting to my previous world. Now I have to adapt to another one? He looked toward a distant mountain. I should climb up there and figure out where I am. After walking for 2 hours, Arthur was exhausted. I can't keep going. Suddenly, the ground beneath him cracked apart. Molten lava erupted from below. Using his movement technique, Arthur narrowly escaped. 1 second ago there was snow and freezing wind. Now everything is burning. There's lava everywhere. Has this world reached its apocalypse? Or is this some kind of trial? Before he could think further, several beasts attacked him. Can I at least get a moment to rest? Arthur drew his sword and killed one of them. But instead of blood, black ink poured from the creature's body. Arthur froze. Ink? That means, I'm inside a painting. A voice echoed through the world. Arthur, I'm not going easy on you. These exams are going to be very difficult. It was King Xiaowen. Arthur immediately understood. This must be the assistant inspector examination. And King Xiaowen is my examiner. No wonder everything is so difficult. As he climbed the mountain, countless beasts continued attacking him. Arthur thought, this world belongs to King Xiaowen's painting. He can do whatever he wants here. Normally examiners wouldn't use their full power against a trainee. But because I provoked him earlier, he's taking his anger out on me. I'm fighting the examiner himself. He can keep creating endless monsters until I collapse from exhaustion. Then a thought struck him. Wait, everything here is made of ink. The creatures are made of ink. This entire world is made of ink. If he can paint inside this world, why can't I? Arthur immediately began painting. Moments later, a giant bird appeared. Arthur smiled. I drew this bird 2 years ago. Good thing I still remember it. If this world is part of King Xiaowen's painting, then it must have an endpoint. And once I reach the end, he won't be able to do anything to me. Arthur jumped onto the bird and flew away. Meanwhile, King Xiaowen's face twisted in anger. He painted inside my painting? How dare this brat oppose me? But he won't escape. I won't let him leave. Using 6 brushes at once, King created a terrifying Hell King. Seeing the giant monster appear, Arthur groaned. That's cheating. He's putting in way too much effort just to beat me. My spiritual bird is already on the verge of collapse. If I fight that thing head-on, I'll definitely lose. I need to trick it and escape somehow. Arthur unleashed a powerful lightning technique, creating a massive thunderstorm. The Hell King's vision was completely blocked. Taking advantage of the opening, Arthur rushed past it and escaped from the painting. King Xiaowen looked at him in surprise. You did well. Your intelligence and adaptability are impressive. You're the first person to escape my painting this quickly. Perhaps that's why Suhan chose you. At that moment, Miss Sue arrived. So, what are the results? I hope you didn't cheat. King smiled. He passed the examination. I'll personally report Arthur's results to the Dragon God Temple. Everyone deserves to know that a remarkable talent has appeared. You don't need to worry about him anymore. Arthur looked surprised. Miss Sue, why are you here? She replied. I heard your examination was taking place. I came to see the result. Congratulations on passing. Arthur rubbed the back of his head. I was just lucky. Miss Su thought to herself. In only a few months, he reached the first realm. He defeated Yi Tao recently, and now he has passed King Xiaowen's examination. This child is truly a top-tier genius. The scene shifted. Andrew Tate said seriously. After Mira's birthday celebration, the West Dragon tribe became extremely angry. They've already gained a major advantage against our East Dragon tribe. The West Dragon tribe has 6 elders who have reached the 7th realm. On our side, I'm the only one capable of standing against them. Arthur becoming an assistant inspector is great news for our tribe. Arthur replied, but I'm only at the 1st realm. It will take me a long time to become stronger. Andrew smiled. That doesn't matter. Sooner or later, you'll become a full inspector. I admit that John Ping is a complete bastard, but he would never dare provoke an inspector. Then Andrew looked at Arthur. I think the time has come for me to give you a Dharma treasure. Mira explained. A Dharma treasure is connected to a cultivator's mind and spirit. Different cultivation paths create different treasures. You can store it inside your body and nourish it with your blood. Eventually, it becomes a part of you. Mrs. Hongyu frowned. But Dharma treasures become bound to their owners. Is it really a good idea to give one to Arthur now? Andrew looked at Arthur. What do you think? Arthur replied. If using a Dharma treasure will help me protect everyone, then I definitely want it. The Dragon King nodded. Mira, take Arthur to Atlantis. Let him choose any weapon he likes. Soon, Arthur and Mira arrived in Atlantis. Arthur asked, so where are these Dharma treasures kept? Mira called out loudly, Grandmaster Chu. Arthur looked at her curiously. You're the princess of the Dragon tribe. Why didn't you just summon Grandmaster Chu directly? He should have come personally to welcome you. Mira immediately snapped at Arthur. Keep your mouth shut. Have you lost your mind? Grandmaster Chu lives here. He is the son of the legendary god dragon and one of our tribe's greatest ancestors. That makes him our elder, not someone we can treat casually. Just then, a young boy named Zhang walked out. He was Grandmaster Chu's disciple. Zhang yawned and complained. I was sleeping peacefully and you people just had to wake me up. Mira bowed respectfully. Mr. Zhang, is your master at home? Zhang looked at her and smiled. You're the Dragon tribe's princess, right? The last time I saw you, you were just a little girl. Mira frowned. I'm asking about Grandmaster Chu. Is he here? Zhang shook his head. You came to see my master? He's currently traveling and probably won't be back for several years. Mira's expression changed. Several years? That's far too long. Zhang stretched his shoulders. My shoulders have been hurting lately. Maybe I'm getting old. Without hesitation, Mira and Arthur stepped forward and started massaging his shoulders. Zhang smiled happily. Ah, that feels wonderful. Keep going. Anyway, did you come here for a Dharma treasure? Mira nodded. Yes, we need a treasure, Zhang replied. Without my master's permission, obtaining one will be difficult. Finding him is even harder. But don't worry, I can help you find a suitable treasure. He turned toward Arthur. You have a 5-element body, don't you? That's an extremely rare physique. Show me the cultivation technique you're practicing. Arthur immediately attacked a nearby table with lightning energy. Zhang's eyes narrowed. So, you're cultivating lightning arts. He suddenly waved his hand. Forget it, go home. I'm tired and want to sleep. If you practiced any other cultivation path, I could have helped you obtain a treasure. But I'm not helping you with this one. Mira immediately grabbed Zhang by the collar. You've been talking nonsense this entire time. Zhang's expression turned cold. How dare you speak to me like that? You're just an ordinary dragon who has already lost her core. And yet you dare act arrogantly in front of me. With a flick of his finger, he struck Mira. She instantly lost consciousness. Arthur's eyes widened. How dare you hurt Mira? Zhang shrugged. That girl was being troublesome, so I put her to sleep for a while. Why don't you fight me? Maybe a good fight will help me sleep better. Arthur clenched his fists. You arrogant little man. I'm not letting this slide. He immediately attacked Zhang with all 5 elements. Zhang calmly dodged. For a first-realm cultivator, you're actually not bad. But the fact that you think you can defeat me only proves how foolish you are. Arthur continued launching attack after attack. While casually avoiding them, Zhang explained, a Dharma treasure is connected to its owner. It doesn't have a fixed form. You must feel it, understand it, and learn how to use it. Arthur thought, a weapon inside my body that I can sense and control. Just like my lightning sword, which I command with my mind. Then my Dharma weapon should be something I can imagine and manifest. At that moment, countless lightning swords appeared around Arthur. Zhang's eyes lit up. I knew you were a rare genius. You learned how to create a sword formation incredibly quickly. Arthur respectfully bowed. Thank you for your guidance, Mr. Zhang. Zhang yawned. I was just stretching before going back to sleep. That's all. Arthur smiled. I know you were actually teaching me, but why did you knock Mira unconscious? Zhang shook his head. I didn't knock her out. I simply put her to sleep. When she wakes up, she'll feel great. The spiritual weapon created through your lightning cultivation is formless. And that's what makes it powerful. You can strike enemies from great distances. You can expand your sword formation as much as you want. For you, there's probably no better Dharma weapon than a sword formation. Arthur's eyes widened. If I learn how to create 10,000 swords, does that mean I'll have 10,000 swords under my control? At that moment, Mira woke up. What happened? Did you obtain the Dharma treasure? Jang tossed a small item toward Arthur. Since you came all this way, I can't send you back empty-handed. Take this. It's called a storage space. Arthur looked confused. What is it? Jang replied. Transfer your spiritual energy into it. Arthur did exactly that. The moment his energy entered the treasure, his consciousness was transported into a completely different world. John explained, this is a portable dimension. You can open it wherever you want. You can store items inside it. You can even cultivate in there whenever you wish. For now, though, you'll need to supply it with a small amount of spiritual energy to keep it stable. Arthur was shocked. This treasure must be incredibly valuable. John casually waved his hand. Not really. I just made it on a whim. Anyway, I'm sleepy. Don't come bothering me again. As Jang walked away, Arthur muttered, he's ridiculously powerful. Mira snorted. He's just an arrogant old man. Arthur couldn't help thinking, she's one of the most arrogant people I know, and she's calling someone else arrogant? Mira crossed her arms. Anyway, you got a Dharma treasure because of me. That means you owe me a favor. You'll have to repay me later. Arthur laughed. Don't worry, I'll repay you properly. The next day, Arthur arrived at the university in a luxury sports car. Everyone stared at him. This guy must be rich. Arthur remembered Andrew's words. A true Sigma always drives a luxury car, and our garage has plenty of them. Just pick one. Looking at everyone's reactions, Arthur sighed. Yeah, I'm definitely never bringing this car here again. As soon as he got out, all eyes were fixed on him. Just then, Gia appeared. Arthur. The moment she saw the car, she immediately looked away. Arthur quickly explained, wait a second, Gia. This belongs to Mira's family. It's not my car. Gia calmly replied, you don't need to explain anything to me. By the way, I'm visiting my old school this afternoon. Would you like to come with me? Arthur blinked. Your old school? My old school is Linji Academy. It's also the school Mira attends. Soon, the two arrived at the academy. As they entered, Miss Luo approached them. Gia, what are you doing here? Arthur immediately recognized her. She used to be my teacher. Miss Luo looked at Arthur. Is this your boyfriend? He looks familiar. Gia quickly shook her head. No, it's not like that. We're just friends. Miss Luo smiled knowingly. You can't lie to your teacher. Still, it's good to see you again. After entering the classroom, Miss Luo turned toward Mira. Mira, have you finished your self-criticism report? Mira crossed her arms. No, and I'm not writing it. Arthur frowned. Mira, what are you doing? Mira quickly hid her notebook. Miss Luo sighed. I know you feel wronged, but you copied your classmates' homework. That punishment is deserved. You performed very well in the midterms, but since then you've stopped studying seriously. You should learn something from your seniors. I never had any problems with them. They were well-behaved students who brought honor to this school. Mira handed over her notebook and muttered, she's a good student. But I'm not. After class, Arthur sat beside Mira. You're the Dragon Tribe's princess. How can you sit here crying by yourself? Mira quickly wiped her eyes. I'm not crying. Something just got into my eyes. Arthur smiled. You've done well. Don't take the teacher's words too seriously. Comparing one student to another is never fair. Besides, nobody should compare you to Gia. Then he added with a grin, she beats you in everything. Looks, brains, talent, everything. So just be yourself. Mira instantly smacked him. You jerk? Did you come here just to make fun of me? I actually believed what you were saying, but I'm not falling for it again. At that moment, Gia walked over. I'm not interrupting anything, am I? Arthur immediately pointed at Mira. Gia, help me. She's trying to kill me. Gia laughed. Miss Luo didn't really mean those things. She was just angry. Mira quietly thought about Arthur's earlier words. Then Gia began speaking. When I was little, I was exactly like you. You could even say I was worse. My grades were terrible. The teachers didn't like me. I became so frustrated that I locked myself in my room. But then I met a neighbor. He taught me what life was really about. You could say he was like the sun shining through my darkness. He was always there for me. He helped me with my studies. I thought my senior brother was amazing, and the person I am today exists because of him. As Arthur listened, his face slowly turned red. Seeing him blush, Mira narrowed her eyes. Why are you blushing so much? Wait, don't tell me you're that neighbor? I knew it. You're exactly the kind of shameless guy who would do something like that. Arthur awkwardly scratched his head. That happened a long time ago. Trust me. Gia and I are just friends. Gia silently lowered her head. Just friends? After beating Arthur up, Mira said, I don't have time for this. By the way, don't forget about the party happening this weekend. The scene then shifted as Arthur and Gia arrived at a small house together. Gia knocked on the door and called out, Grandma, are you home? A moment later, the elderly woman opened the door and asked, Who has come to visit me? Gia smiled. It's me, Gia. How have you been, Grandma? The old woman's face brightened. It's wonderful to see you, Jia. You're such a kind girl. You always come to visit me. Jia immediately began cleaning and organizing the house. The old woman protested, "You don't need to do all this work." But Jia ignored her and finished all the household chores anyway. The old woman smiled warmly. "Thank you so much, Jia. You're truly a lovely child." Arthur watched from the side and thought, Jia really is a wonderful person. She helps this old woman without expecting anything in return. Suddenly, the old woman stared directly at Arthur. "You must be the young man Jia talks about all the time." Arthur was surprised. "This grandma is incredible." The old woman continued, "I've met many people in my life, but Jia is one of the best. You should cherish her." Arthur quickly replied, "Ma'am, you've misunderstood. We're not in a relationship." The old woman simply smiled. Arthur nervously laughed. "Right, Jia? I'm telling the truth." Jia remained silent. A moment later, she stood up and said, "I have something to do, so I'll be leaving now. I'll come visit you again soon." The old woman nodded before saying something mysterious. "Everyone should know their limits. Child, don't push yourself too hard, or your life may be put in danger." Arthur blinked. "Are you talking about me?" That evening, while walking home, Arthur asked, "Jia, who exactly was that old lady?" Jia replied, "She's a blind woman who lives alone. She hasn't been here for very long, and nobody ever comes to visit her. I feel sorry for her, so I stop by whenever I can." A few moments later, they arrived at Jia's house. Then Jia quietly muttered, "You said we're just friends." Arthur looked confused. "Did you say something?" Jia quickly shook her head. "No, nothing. We'll meet again next week." 4 days later, Arthur was cultivating alone. Dozens of lightning swords floated in the sky around him. Suddenly, a bolt of lightning struck one of the swords. The backlash severely injured Arthur. He gritted his teeth. "The lightning is being drawn toward me. My consciousness is fading. Am I going to die here?" Just as he was about to collapse, someone suddenly appeared and saved him. The person handed him a pill. "Take this. You'll recover after eating it." Arthur looked up in shock. "Who are you?" To his surprise, it was the old grandmother. She calmly replied, "Stop asking questions. The heavenly tribulation isn't over yet. Do exactly as I say and continue using your lightning cultivation. I don't just control lightning, I can summon it as well. You'll have to learn that too. You need to become completely familiar with lightning energy." The old woman then summoned several bolts of lightning that crashed down onto Arthur. She said, "Don't be afraid. Absorb it." Arthur immediately began absorbing the lightning. Soon, he felt a profound connection between heaven and earth. His spiritual energy improved dramatically. After some time, he opened his eyes and bowed respectfully. "Thank you for your guidance." But when he looked around, the old woman had already disappeared. Arthur frowned. She left. But why does her aura feel so familiar? Still, he was satisfied. "At least I've learned how to manipulate lightning." Mira's uncle Tristan will soon face his heavenly tribulation. Maybe I'll be able to help him when the time comes. Soon afterward, Arthur arrived in Atlantis. As he looked at Mira's residence, he couldn't help being amazed. "This place is incredible." Mira rolled her eyes. "Why are you acting like that?" Arthur replied. "Do you realize this entire mansion is made from white jade? If a house like this existed in the real world, it would be worth a fortune. And you're telling me I'm not supposed to be shocked?" Mira sighed. "My uncle Tristan is the East Ocean tribe's last hope. No matter what price we have to pay, his survival is more important than anything. If he dies, our entire tribe will be finished." Arthur noticed her trembling hands. She's genuinely worried about her uncle. Soon, they entered the banquet hall. The Dragon King announced, "Tristan has completed 91 days of closed-door cultivation. To celebrate his achievement, we are holding this banquet in his honor." Tristan stood up and bowed. "Thank you all for your support. Especially you, brother." The Dragon King looked serious. "Are you certain you'll survive this heavenly tribulation? This tribulation will be far more dangerous than any before." Tristan laughed confidently. "A few lightning strikes won't scare your brother." The Dragon King smiled. "You truly are fearless. A true Sigma should be exactly like that." However, Arthur noticed something concerning. Tristan's hands were trembling. He quietly asked Mira, "Is your uncle really okay? Can he actually survive this tribulation?" Mira immediately answered, "My uncle is the strongest cultivator in the East Ocean tribe." "Of course he can." Arthur thought for a moment. "What if I weaken the heavenly tribulation?" Mira stared at him in disbelief. "Weaken the heavenly tribulation? How would that even be possible?" Arthur explained, "Heavenly tribulations are primarily lightning-based. I cultivate lightning arts. I can attack with lightning and even manipulate its nature. I'm confident I can weaken part of its power." Mira shook her head. "It isn't just lightning. The tribulation contains multiple elements. If it were an ordinary elemental tribulation, Uncle could handle it himself. But this is the ninth heaven purple cloud tribulation. It may even be stronger than that. Uncle is attempting to reach the heavenly dragon realm, the realm where heavenly immortals reside. In the last 400 years, not a single member of the Ocean Tribe has successfully become a heavenly dragon." Arthur looked surprised. "So breaking through is really that difficult? Uncle Tristan is currently in the 8th realm, right?" Mira nodded. "Yes. That's why everyone is preparing so seriously. Suddenly, thunder exploded across the sky. The entire palace began shaking. Andrew stood up in alarm. Has the heavenly tribulation started ahead of schedule? Tristan immediately took out his trident and sat down to face the incoming tribulation. At the same time, the defensive formation protecting the area was activated. Dark clouds rapidly gathered overhead. When the Dragon King saw them, his face turned pale. This is the 9th heaven, 18 lightning tribulation. This is far more dangerous than we anticipated. Mira's face turned white. Father, how is that possible? Can Uncle survive? The Dragon King clenched his fists. We can't say for sure. This tribulation is considered one of the most dangerous in existence. Some legends claim that even gods struggle against it, and Tristan is still immortal. Moments later, terrifying bolts of heavenly lightning began crashing down upon Tristan. Mira's eyes filled with tears. Uncle, are you okay? Tristan shouted back. Mira, only weak children cry. Watch carefully and see how your uncle overcomes this heavenly tribulation. Arthur couldn't help feeling impressed. Uncle Tristan truly deserves his title as the strongest cultivator. He's resisting the lightning while simultaneously absorbing its power. The Dragon King explained, the 9th heaven 18 lightning tribulation is far more dangerous than ordinary tribulations. It consists of 18 lightning strikes. Each strike is significantly stronger than the one before it. Arthur was shocked. 18 strikes? That's insane. One after another, powerful bolts slammed into Tristan. The soldiers cheered loudly. My lord, you can do it! The Dragon King asked, how many strikes have fallen so far? A soldier answered, 9. But the 10th strike is the truly dangerous one. Tristan clenched his teeth. I must survive. Then the 10th bolt descended. The moment it struck, Tristan's condition worsened dramatically. Mira and the Dragon King became extremely worried. The Dragon King immediately gave an order. Activate the heaven and earth formation. The soldiers obeyed at once. The massive formation appeared and began sharing the burden of the lightning. However, the soldiers themselves were also being injured by the heavenly power. Many of them were nearing death. Tristan shouted angrily, Brother, what are you doing? The soldiers are dying. If this continues, the entire East Ocean tribe will be wiped out. Andrew replied firmly, You are the East Ocean tribe's final hope. These soldiers willingly chose to sacrifice themselves for you. And most importantly, I refuse to watch my brother die. What happens next will be revealed in the next episode. Thank you for watching and stay tuned.